for now. Let me start up the game because we're going to play some Gods of the Twilight tonight. This is a visual novel, like romance game. Um, that I got a key for from PressEngine. If you do exclamation point, what did I make the command? What did I make the command? Gods. Exclamation point gods. You can get the Steam link to it. There's a demo out right now. There's no official release date for it, and like the season 1 release is sometime this year. That's all I say. And I don't know how long the demo has been up on the Steam store. And I don't know how long the demo is. From a quick glance at like the curator reviews, it seems to be like a longish demo, and I'm not sure if I have a demo or like the full copy of the game, or the full copy of what's available, because like I said, the season 1 makes me think that it's going to be along the line, like released along the lines of, say, like the TellTale games where they have more than one. See, like, you know, Walking Dead did that, and I forget what else. I just know that that's one of them. But like the premise is romance reincarnated Norse gods and explore government conspiracies in this cyberpunk fantasy visual novel. Plays 2 protagonists navigating their social and romantic lives while a decaying world faces Ragnarok and ancient truths resurface about themselves and their companions. And they list a number of companions, like in the characters, and there's apparently like more yeah, Life is Strange did something similar like that. This is the website where you can watch the trailer. I did watch it earlier. I will say the trailer is, I don't want to say it's bad, because it's not, but the trailer kind of, like the voiceover it sounds very self-done. So we'll see what like I said, it's still like, I don't know if it's still in development or what, but because it just has the planned release date is Q1, which I think we're at the tail end of. Okay, and the demo only came out on the 10th of February, so this, what I have, might be the demo, but we'll see. Okay, so at least 3 volumes with over 95,000 words currently planned for the first volume alone. An episodic story released over time where choices carry over between volumes. Choose which romance each protagonist will pursue, or none at all. Right, I was talking about that before because I was thinking about the video that you sent me the other day, Silver, because in the trailer they explicitly mentioned that they made it possible for you to romance multiple people, no people, the other protagonist, which I thought was pretty interesting. A range of possible endings for your characters and for the world. Your choices determine the protagonist's relationship with their companion. I think I said that already. This is a 17+ game due to language, violence, and sexual themes. So hopefully, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's nothing terrible. Yeah. It says both player characters have romance options of multiple genders, including each other, but the romance arcs are completely optional. You can enjoy the game's core story and all endings, even if you opt to romance no one. This is produced by, where'd it go? Volution Design. They are a small indie studio founded in February 2020, and this is their debut game. They're friends who've played and GM tabletop and MMO role-playing plots together since 2014, and yeah, that's it. So I'm excited. I think it could be fun. So let me load it up and we'll get into it. Like I said, I don't know how long it is. I loaded it up to test how it looked in Steam or Stream, and that was it. Sorry, it's very loud. I don't think it looks like terrible. I'm interested to see what the if there's voiceover or anything like that. So we'll see. We'll see. Let me. Oh, I gotta change category from just chatting because this game actually does have a category. On Twitch already. Keyboard or not keyboard controller options, so that's okay. The story, navigate the interface, escape, access the game menu, step backward in the story. Okay, mouse. Okay, so we can play with just the mouse, which is nice because sometimes I don't like. I'm weird. Okay, so display window full screen. Okay, we're gonna keep that. The music volume a little. Not half. Lower the sound a little bit. And then speed that up maybe just a little. Okay. Again, like I said, I'm going into this totally blind. Or unknowing. Totally unknowing about what we're getting into. So, we'll see. Okay, whose story will we start with? We have Farkas and Althea. I think we're gonna go with Althea. This game is intended for a 17+ audience. It contains foul language, sexual themes, descriptive violence, and other mature topics, not for the faint of heart. Characters are flawed and can say and do some nasty things that don't reflect the dev's views. This is a rough world. Player discretion is advised. It's a work of fiction, blah blah blah, or blah 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 blah. The end. All typical. This is not based on true events or people or things. Okay. Hey, welcome to the Gods of Twilight. Since you're starting a new game, do you want the tutorial? Yeah. No problem. First things first, click anywhere on the screen to advance the text. Anywhere other than the buttons that do other things. The enter key and spacebar work too. Okay, now that you're not going to get stuck staring at the screen, let me introduce myself. I'm Hector. I got volunteered to do the tutorial because apparently I'm the closest thing we have to a mascot, whatever that means. Anyway, this game uses the Ren'Py visual novel engine, which comes with a few handy features to help you explore the story the way you want to. I don't know what that means. Very few visual novels in my gaming history, aside from, actually I think the only one I ever really played was Dream Daddy. And I guess technically Woods, but we never finished. The first one to consider is the auto button at the bottom of the text box. See it? If you toggle it on, the text will keep advancing automatically, so you don't have to keep clicking all the time, which can get annoying. Maybe not, because I have to read it all. Though some people also prefer they have more control. Find the settings, including the speed that, yep, I did that. Skip button lets you fast forward through text you've seen before. Very helpful for trying different choices. Okay. Okay. Quick save and quick load to manage multiple save files. Collect them for different points. Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. I guess that's the thing that people would do for stuff like this. For all your I wish I didn't do that and what was that? I wasn't paying attention needs. Okay. Okay. Oh, look. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. How far you can go back, so it might help you your whole life. Oh, okay. Other than that, there are a few things to know about this game specifically. They promise you a lot of choices and consequences. Those add up throughout the game. Some choices have unique consequences and will be specifically referenced later on. Others will increase or decrease your affection scores with different characters. Many do both. You already made an important choice just now between Fargus and Althea. They're both adorable in their own ways, but don't tell them. We end up getting along. Okay. You picked Althea, so you'll play her intro first. You'll still play Farkas's scenes, but later on. But later on, there are scenes that can be played from either of their perspectives. Oh, okay, so you do play as... Okay, I thought it was just either or. Okay. When that happens, you'll play from the perspective of the character you chose in the beginning. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so depending on who you choose, like, certain scenes will just be only from the perspective of that character. Okay. Okay, I'm a little confused, but I'll figure it out as we go. Victor enjoys the sound of his own voice. When you gain or lose affection, you'll see a notification like this. Though you might not see it right away when you make the choice, but later when the character actually reacts. Just like real life, you don't always know the consequences of your actions until later. If you miss the notification, you can scroll up or hit back until you see it again. Right now, you get affection for me for listening to me talk. It won't count in the game, though, since the tutorial is outside the plot. As for the points themselves, some choices will gain or lose more points than others, but again, like real life, all you can see is the character's reaction, not the number. So you have to judge how big a deal it is with the context. Cool! And later on, if you want to build your relationships with certain characters, you might get turned away if you don't have enough affection with them. Makes sense. That doesn't just apply to romance. You could just be asking for someone's help or wanting to get closer as friends. Don't worry if I do my best to be nice about it. Second thought, that depends on what you've done, because you can do some pretty terrible shit in this game. Okay. Anyway, I know what you're thinking. Is this guy one of those romanceable Norse gods they told me about? Well, maybe. Take me to dinner first. Actually, I don't know the answer to that. If I had a past life as something else, I don't remember it. Besides, this game also has romanceable humans and other kinds of beings, and they're pretty special too. I also have to get the snows first and unravel those mysteries as you go. As for the romance part, you saw the warning screen before this. To put it in movie terms, the game's rated R, not X, so don't get your hopes up too high. There'll be new chapters released over time, and your decisions will carry over from the previous chapters, so stay tuned and follow the game's socials for updates. No problem. Eat an orange and watch a video. Have fun. That's about it. Have fun. Okay. An age of the axe, an age of the sword, an age of storms, an age of wolves. Shields will be cloven. Before the world sinks in the sea, there will be no man left who is true to another. The Poetic Edda. I don't know how to pronounce that. Big boy. Yeah. Alright, chapter 0, Althea part 1. The sounds of battle surround me. I look around at the chaos. There's something I'm supposed to do, but how? Where? Where are the others? They were supposed to help me. No, they're turning and fighting him. This isn't how this is supposed to go. Is this a nudity game? I don't think so. It's rated R. We'll find out. Stop! He isn't our enemy. He needs to do this or else... The voice is both familiar and unfamiliar, yet it comes from within me. I feel its urgency as my own. I rush forward. He's attacking them now in return. Viciously but outnumbered. The outcome is now all but certain. Oh. Suddenly I'm on the ground, warm blood pouring down my face. Rip. Is it mine? What happened? My vision fades as a figure stands over me, and a blade jabs down into me from above. Okay, I might actually turn the sound up again. I was worried it would be too loud. I just didn't want the music to be too loud. Traitor. Who said that? It's true. Game neither. All of them. A swell of music pulls me back to the physical world. My alarm. What an intense dream. My heart is still pounding as if I'd been fighting for my life. I blink. bringing my eyes into focus as I mentally summon my heads-up display to shut off the alarm and quickly flick through my notifications before getting up. Yeah, it's not. It, like I said, it's rated R, not, like, so I think it's fine. Also, it wasn't mentioned in the description, but basically in this world, like, your phone is in your, like, it's just, like, in your brain. Like, cybernetics or whatever. Well, maybe it can snooze for 10 minutes. I like gazing at the ceiling, the morning sun streaking across from the window. What are these dreams? I can't always remember them, but it feels like this wasn't the first time. There's a knock at the door. Miss Thea, are you getting ready? It's Johannes. Right? Or is it No, Johannes. Right? I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce these Norse names. Hello? The assistant my parents hired after we moved to New Reykjavik. Is that right? God, what? This is terrible. Why? I feel awful. Can't read anything. His impeccable politeness makes pings like these easier to swallow, but his knock was still jarring with how frayed I feel. He's only a few years older than me, so it's strange being minded by someone who's basically a peer. Johannes. Okay. Is that what I said? I don't know. Is that what I said? I don't know. And whose professional polish I find so damn charming, or he's easy to get along with, though. Alright, so how do we want to play this? Do we want to play streamer picks, or do we want to pick? Do we want to do do we want to crowdsource? Oh, you don't want to wait for the delay. Okay, I wasn't sure how big the delay was. Alright. Let's go with he's easy to get along with. Very respectful, if a little distant. I tell him, yes, just a minute. Johannes appreciates my promptness. All right, I'll be down in the car. Footsteps trail away from my door. I might have a minute or two to continue lying here, but I really need to get up, so eventually I roll out of bed. I get dressed in a hurry or taking time to look polished. Let's look good. I check over my outfit, hair, and face in the mirror as I get ready, making sure there's no remaining sign of bedhead or how tired I still feel. Fair enough, fair enough. Once I'm ready to go, I add a breakfast bar to my bag to save time and head down to the garage. Traffic is so bad in the city that most people don't own their own cars, so having one at my disposal is quite a luxury. Not to mention having a human driver. Yeah, that's pretty ugly. It's the future, everything's ugly. Most people just hail rides everywhere or take the rails, all automated unless you pay extra for the human touch. But the culture in the city seems so private and quiet that I wonder if anyone would want that anyway. I'm just happy that I can relax on the ride over. I'm normally sleep deprived anyway from my studies and side projects. Johannes smiles and nods to me, opening the door for me before going around to the driver's side. That was a bit longer than expected, though you're looking quite sharp. Oh, he approves of my look. He doesn't normally comment on my appearance, so the compliment catches me off guard. You don't like it? Is he just making conversation, or does a part of him behind that polished professional exterior actually find it attractive? Or is he judging me for taking too long and covering it up with a compliment? It's so hard to tell with him. Yes. Whatever, it's nothing to get worked up about. Yeah, just because I'm ready for a nap on the inside doesn't mean I can't make my outside ready to take on the world. I'll see you next time. Of course. We speed off into the city. He knows this place and its traffic fluently, and it shows. He weaves through intuitively in ways that might have seemed dangerous if I hadn't already learned to trust his instincts. Yeah, well, he's driving over cables. Hello? The sky is already darkening back to its typical dull gray. Even if this morning was a bit brighter than usual, it's still been years since I saw a patch of blue sky. Yikes. Johannes plays a podcast about recent news. He might not share much about himself in his professionalism, but I've learned that he prefers to spend his spare brain cycles learning things rather than simply listening to music. Brain cycles? Red flag. It took a while to convince him that I really had no preference regarding what we listened to, but I'm glad I did. I always end up hearing something interesting during our drives. I mean, sure, North America has plenty of underground seasonal storm shelters, but they're only built to house people for a few weeks at a time. If this year's anything like last year, they'll need to expand their infrastructure down there, but where are people supposed to go in the meantime? That'll be up to their governments to figure out, but in the long term, we just need more ocean platforms if we're going to be climate robust. Oh, right, because it's ocean platforms like the one we're on. New Reykjavik, oh god, I'm pretty sure that I'm saying that wrong, is a synthetic island floating atop the rising seas, built as a refuge for the inhabitants of the old capital, now submerged under the Atlantic. Unlike a real island, it can move like a large, slow ship, but that's enough to avoid the worst hurricanes and other storms, so long as the forecasts are accurate enough. It's strange to imagine how people used to be able to just live on this planet with nothing. No special tech to make the place habitable for them. Just sit out in nature and somehow be okay. Wild. Weird, right? I mean, I know it must have been like that, but it's hard to imagine actually living that way. How did we end up so far from that? Well, you see, we didn't take climate change seriously until it was way too late. Nice. Each year is similar enough to the last, but the sea creeps a little higher, and the storms hit a little harder, and after a while, I guess it just adds up. Finally, we arrive at school. I thank Johannes for his company, quiet though he was for most of the ride. He'll stay out running the house's errands for a while, and meanwhile I'll be here. As busy as school makes me, I can't help but feel like my time is being wasted. I'm happy to learn, but I guess their priorities aren't the same as mine. Literally Diana. I don't know if a floating city is the only repercussion. Oh, if floating city is the only repercussions of climate change, I'm okay with that. I mean, fair. But I feel like it's more than just having to be on floating cities. The things I most want to learn aren't the things we're covering right now, or the things required for the matriculation exams. So I give them what they want, then lose sleep doing what I want. If we'd stayed in another country, I might be at a university by now with more freedom to choose my own studies. But courses at the gymnasia, Iceland's equivalent of high schools, go to age 19, so here I am. I head to one class after another in rooms with round clusters of displays where students sit to do the day's exercises while instructors circulate and help whoever's struggling. In literature, it's independent writing exercises today. In computer science, it's a group exercise. In bio, we have some wet lab stuff to do, so it's lab benches instead of electronic displays. We rarely do stuff like that, and the change of pace is nice. We get our reading assignments to prepare for the next section and shuffle ourselves along to the next class. I can read. I just can't read out loud, I guess. The classes are well done, but it's more like a game of ticking all the boxes for the requirements rather than going after knowledge because there's something in particular we want to learn. Are we 18? 18 or 19, I think? I would imagine 19. Or because we want to do something with that knowledge. At lunch, I sit with a few other students I've been getting to know. I haven't been in this country long, but it's pretty lonely without friends I can see outside the internet. And I get along well enough with these guys. Oh, hey, Thea. This is Ormer. Peter. So the posh princess deigns to honor us with her presence. Yes, be grateful, peasant. And then Miranda. Come on, you don't have to give her such a hard time. I'm like barely fucking with her. And look at her, she's perfectly fine. Fucking with people is how he shows affection. You don't need to explain me, Miranda. I don't think we're a child. We're like 18, 19. Anyway, I'm ready for a nap. I think I'll just stay here for the rest of the day. Okay? Okay. He's resting his head on his forearms, which are folded in front of him on the table. Were you up late? Nah, I just hate my life.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I feel like this is it. I think like the game is done. This is it. End. Yeah. Exceptional. So the usual. Yep. Okay, so life isn't that bad, or let's all hate life together. Let's all hate life together. Thanks, I get it. Peter approves. Miranda thinks I'm enabling them. My voice is an ironic imitation of a kindergarten teacher gathering everyone for a class activity. Party! His head still resting in his arms on the table, he raises one fist in mock enthusiasm. But he does smile, genuinely, it seems. The humor around here is almost always dark, if not full-on nihilistic, where the hopelessness of humanity is the punchline, but that's pretty normal in my experience. Okay. I mean, if someone acted genuinely cheerful, they'd just come across as fake or ignorant and everyone would shit on them for it. Why would anyone be genuinely cheerful, right? Now, hear me out. Have you ever tried not getting up in the morning? Or ever? Fuck off. That's going a bit far, Peter. Is it, though? Is it?
Emotional damage.
To be honest, it bothers me a bit as well. Joking about depression and suicide as if such things are just a matter of course. But maybe joking about it helps. At least more so than pretending these things don't happen. I consider asking what they think about all that, but I hesitate. I don't know them that well. And heaven forbid I say anything truly heartfelt in front of my peers. For now, I just keep up my end of the banter until everyone's done with lunch and we head out to our remaining classes. After class, when I'm allowed to turn my phone back on, I see a blip to one side of my vision. It's a notification on my heads-up display. A message from Johannes. I give the mental command to open the message, and my phone transmits the image of Johannes to my HUD. To my eyes, he appears in front of me like a hologram, even though I'm the only one who can see the augmented reality overlay. I'm afraid your parents have asked for my help with some urgent last-minute business, so it'll be an hour or so before I'm able to pick you up. The message is just recording, so I can't respond directly, but still. What business? I guess you didn't feel at liberty to share? I'll let you know when I'm free if I don't hear from you otherwise. Stay safe. If you would worry about my safety isn't terribly surprising. This city is dangerous to walk around by yourself. No, with her parents. With her parents. Yeah. With our parents. If I go anywhere, it'd be best not to go alone. I do like that I could just kind of scroll back. I do like that. I like that mechanic. But like I said, I think that's part of, like, just the system that they, like, the coding that they used, the base coding they used, I think it's just part of that. But like I said, I've played one visual novel, really. Unless I just hail a ride straight home. Okay, but for now I decide to, let's see, hang out in the school's library, see if my classmates want to do anything together, or get a robo-taxi home. Ooh, we'll see. Let's get to know our classmates a little better. Everyone is glad to see me. It's important. I look around for familiar faces near the main entrance, where students are waiting around for their rides or stopping to hail them. Hey, Thea. Hey, are you guys busy right now, or do you want to do something? Like what? There's that game cafe not far from here, but I've never gotten around to trying it. The place has high-end gaming systems, VR hardware, and even a collection of physical board games. What? Plus comfortable seating and a full cafe menu with drinks and snacks. That's true. That place did sound interesting. Let's check it out. My parents will be fine with it so long as we stick together on the street. We make our way down the sidewalk away from the school building. It's damn cold for March, isn't it? The city needs to turn up the outdoor heating. Outdoor heating. Sure, and then just bill the citizens for it like they always do. I think I'd rather keep my money. Wow, Omer. We work together. Do you even make any money? Miranda shrugs. I don't know, it always seems chilly to me. Yeah, but it wasn't always like this, was it? Hey, you know what they say? No, I don't. Global warming, it makes the winters worse. Is Omer like some conservative guy? I have no idea. Global weirding. The weather just does whatever it wants now. That sounds right. Yeah, basically. But it does make me wonder, is it particularly worse this year? My eyes go slightly out of focus as I mentally call up my HUD and its floating ethereal windows appear in front of me, invisible to everyone but myself. I mean, here's an article about crops dying on the mainland since spring conditions weren't meant for them to sprout this year. Again. Apparently this is the third year in a row that it was like this for virtually all crops. Damn, what? Yep, we're all gonna die. What else is new? Just need more greenhouses. That's how we do it here. 3 years without a real summer. Does that sound familiar? I feel like I've heard something like that before. Like from a movie or something? I don't know. I continue scrolling through the windows only I can see. If you run into the pole while you're looking at the windows plastered across the inside of your eyeballs, you know we're just going to laugh and judge you, right? He smirks teasingly. I sigh, exaggerating my annoyance for comedic effect. Oh, that's where it's from. The prophecy of Ragnarok. 3 years without summer, under a useless sun, signs of Norse mythology's apocalypse. It's funny how you study this shit way more than I do, and you're not even from here. He's not wrong. At this point, I've read volumes on so many different traditions the world over, from those left in the dust of history to those still practiced, large and small. I don't draw a line between mythologies and religions because, what's the saying? All stories are true in the places where they're told. The truth is the human experience behind it, and that always exists, whatever form it might truly have taken. Look at that drone over there. There's something I love about them all, and I love finding connections between them more than anything. So we're still going to die, but possibly more epically. Hey, the other signs include years of global war, so that's also a thing. Now it's Miranda's turn to sigh in annoyance. You guys are ridiculous. Like, I know you're just messing around, but there are people in my family who get super into conspiracy theories like that, and I'm pretty burned out on it. Seriously, everything is fine. Okay, gee whiz. Well, gee whiz! Peter echoes him in an exaggerated tone, playfully mocking his G-rated word choice. Hey, what is your problem, man? Oh golly gee willikers. Shut the fuck up. They banter and jab back and forth. I just laugh and shake my head, trying to at least give the impression of being present with them, even though my mind is still elsewhere. As we keep walking, there's a noise between two of the buildings up ahead on our side of the street. A thump like something dropping to the ground. You guys hear that? What? I point in the direction of the sound. It's like something fell back in there. So what? Should we cross the street away from it? She looks nervous about whatever might be lurking in the alley. Could just try to get a peek from a distance, see what's going on. We should try to get a peek at what's down there without getting too close, because I... Just a little. Just very subtle. We move along the curb, trying to get line of sight to the source of the noise while maintaining our distance. There's a dark shape in there, extending upward like someone standing up from a crouched position on the ground. Then it starts moving quickly toward us, its details becoming more clear as it comes out of the shadow between the buildings. Oh, it's a person, clad from head to toe in some sort of high-tech armor, and they reach up over one shoulder to draw a large blade. Are we about to roll initiative? Nope. Oh god. Omer starts sprinting up the sidewalk back where we came from, frantically muttering to himself, "Nope, nope." The rest of us aren't far behind. Peter glances angrily behind us as we run. Leave us alone, you crazy cosplay fuck! Not the cosplay jab. Wow. He scoops up a loose chunk of a brick from the building's damaged facade and hurls it back at the dark figure chasing us. I guess they murdered together. The brick zooms toward its target, but our pursuer dodges deftly, leaning to the side without even breaking their stride. Who even... Help! Police? Meanwhile, Omer doesn't even bother looking back, focused on running with a single-minded intensity I've never seen him muster for any other effort in his life. The figure leaps forward powerfully, clearing the distance between us as I can only imagine an Olympic athlete might. Blade raised overhead as they come in for a landing, the black-clad stranger swings downward at Peter, who somehow musters the defiant courage to swing and catch the incoming attacker's jaw with a punch. Before getting cleaved in two. Oh, rip Peter. Is this real? I stare in shock for a split second that seems like eternity. What? Miranda gasps in disbelief and Omer screeches another nope, his voice raising an octave before he simply dives straight into the crowded street. I feel like I'm being torn in half between the incomprehensible sight of Peter's familiar frame now crumpled in two pieces on the ground and Omer disappearing between the cars. But that's when I realize what Omer is doing. We'll never outrun this attacker going up a straight open path like the sidewalk. We need to lose them among obstacles, break line of sight. Shutting out my churning emotions in the name of survival, I leap out into traffic as well, and Miranda closely follows. The autonomous taxis and delivery vehicles that fill the street detect us and react in microseconds, stopping or swerving deftly around. We catch glimpses of the perplexed and indignant faces of any passengers within, but the city's traffic AI is coordinated enough to avoid driving any of the cars into each other or into us. Meanwhile, we weave and tumble past the cars that slow to avoid us, and glancing back, I lose sight of our pursuer. I let out a breath of relief, but keep running. Now's not the time to assume we're safe. And then I hear it. And see it. Ah! This is fine. Having locked onto us again, the blade-wielding figure is leaping from the roof of one car to the next. Spread out. That screwball can't follow all of us at once. I and the others go off in different directions. Up the street, down the street, and down an intersecting road. I quickly realize that the only one being chased is me. Which, in a way, is a relief. At least the other two can get to safety now. Maybe. But as for me, I run up onto the sidewalk and around a corner. Now where am I supposed to go? I can't outrun them. I can't fight them. What, then? But so long as I physically can, I just keep running. Up ahead, I see a dark van screech to a halt, and the side door opens up to reveal a woman in a uniform. Police officer who's actually wielding firearms? Must be special forces. Get in, quickly! Jumping into a strange van might not sound terribly safe, but at this point, to get to the van, I sprint with the last burst of energy I can muster. Meanwhile, she leans out, bracing herself against the seat and aiming around me. Not with her rifle, but a strange sort of pistol I haven't seen before. When it fires, there's a concussive wave that radiates out from it, throwing the black-clad individual back through the air. No bullets. Interesting non-lethal option. Why haven't I heard of guns like that before? Buys enough time for me to climb inside and for the door to close and us to speed off. I noticed traffic giving way fluidly to let us pass, like a sea parting for our convenience. I guess she really must be Special Forces if the city's traffic AI is treating this vehicle with that kind of priority. I look around at the woman and the other two officers inside the van. Who are you? What is going on? Where are we going? My friend is... He's dead, honey. He's dead. I guess I'll have a lot of questions once we get where we're going. He's dead. Peter is dead. He's just dead. Unless he's not a human, and then maybe he's not dead. We'll go with that. We continue to drive. The other officers in the van look like they were ready for a fight, but they don't say much as we continue. It's true. You're right. You're right. He just said that he was sliced in half, so I just assumed that, like, they just fucking managed to get right through the spine. Like, he's just in two separate pieces on the floor, is what I expect. They just gaze out the front windshield or review whatever's displaying on their HUDs, judging from the way their out-of-focus eyes flip back and forth as if reading something floating in the air in front of them. Eventually, we get to a guarded gate in front of a ramp that must lead down to the city ship's lower decks. After a guard scans the van and confirms the identities of the officers in it, the gate opens and we drive down. Nothing a little body glue can't fix, yeah. But this isn't just underground parking for the building above. In fact, there's no garage at all. We just keep going down, and at some point we level out and keep driving forward. The space outside the van is completely dark at this point. The AI driving the vehicle doesn't need light to see, after all. We take a few turns as we go, and I start to wonder just how much is down here. How many decks were there again? Eventually, we come to a stop facing a door in the wall of the tunnel. I can finally see the walls in the otherwise lightless passage, thanks to the lamps over the doors. This way. We can talk in the briefing room inside. What is this place? I want to go home. Am I going to die here? Just line up the halves correctly. Nod and head inside. Whatever. We step into a lobby just inside the door, and I see the van drive off by itself as soon as we're all out of it. I briefly wonder how I'm going to get out of here if something goes wrong, or if it turns out I can't trust these people. Just run off through these dark tunnels? I mean, yeah. I guess I just have to hope I can trust them. I was young once, I walked alone, and I became lost on my way. I felt like I was rich when I met another traveler. People's joy is in other people. The Poetic Edda. Have 'em all. Stanza 47. Farkas Part 1. Chapter 0. Okay, before we get into this part, I'm actually going to take... I'm quitting. If I didn't still have ideas for stuff I wanted to do, then I would be quitting. Anyway. I was gonna snack. Anyway, now we're playing the first part as Farkas. Ugh, it's pain. It's like I've been aching for eons. For as long as I can remember. Can't move. Was I ever able to move? I try to stretch out my limbs, but there's something stopping me. It can't be how it always was. There's a strange taste in my mouth and renewed pain as I shift and push. Is this blood? Sleep calls to me. How long have I been here? Waking to this darkness only to drift off again. Into dreams I can barely remember. But there's something else, and my eyes burn defiantly against the pull of hibernation. Oh, whoops. I never tweeted that I was live. Mostly because they haven't been. Ava, thank you. How close to that are we? 22,000? Oh, of course. We're like halfway there. Hi, buddy. What's wrong? All right. Anywho, let's get back to it. The ones who did this to me. I see their faces now. Some scornful, some indifferent, some amused. That's it. The desire that keeps me going. Awakening again and again to strain against what holds me. They will know my suffering. Wait. My thoughts, my memories, they're scattering to the wind. Vanishing. Who am I again? I don't know. I wake up slowly, taking in my surroundings. It's 7:30 in the morning. I feel the sweat sticking to my body. Was I having a nightmare? Must have been pretty intense. Sluggish. Stand up and go to the nearest mirror. My face is there, same as always, with the familiar mess of black hair on top. What, was I expecting anything different? The dream must have really shaken me up. I shake my head and give myself a smirk. Morning, loser. I turn away to start getting dressed. Whatever. No need to be dramatic about it. Back in the real world now. Back in New Reykjavik. Same place I've been my entire life. Some people around here might remember old Reykjavik, but not me. And even if I'm curious about it, signing up for a scuba tour of the sunken city wouldn't exactly be cheap. Me, this massive floating turd of a city is the only place I've ever called home. Don't really see myself moving either. That's expensive too. But hey, better my massive floating turd than someone else's, I guess. But damn, my head feels weird. And my hand... Slowly raise my palm, looking down at it. What the... How? My fists are sore, and my right hand has a bandage wrapped around what must be a deep cut tinged red with my blood. What happened yesterday? It's been years since I got into a real fight. I shake my head. Better clean this wound and get ready to go. I'm not looking forward to school, but it won't be much longer. One more year until graduation. Okay, so he's at least 18. I'm washing my face after getting changed when I hear someone call. Marcus! I sigh, making a slow, casual turn to face the voice calling for me. Yeah? The door slides open with a thud to reveal Hekla's intense stare, piercing me all the way from the doorway where she stands. Hekla's my adult guardian, so to speak. I mean, she adopted me, and all the official paperwork lists me as Farkas Heckelson, but I've never thought of her as my mom. Her eyes are wide under furrowed brows, and can't tell whether she's more angry or worried. The asymmetrical tab, yeah, that's interesting. Good, you're up. Now get downstairs and help me open. You owe me at least that much after what you put me through last night. She turns and starts heading back down, clearly expecting me to follow. What I put you through? Besides, I gotta get to school. You can spare 15 minutes, you're not running that late. She doesn't stop walking, her words ringing up the stairs. I sigh and head down. She probably wants to lecture me, but there's no time for that if she wants the pub up and running for breakfast. So yeah, I basically live at a pub, but like upstairs. It's called the Ice and Dice. Funny name, but don't make fun of it, the owner will kick you in the face. So between that and these weird fucking bottles on the ceiling, new customers seem amused by them, so I guess that's good. She calls it quirky, but I call it not wanting to pay for real decorations. I mean, we have the glowing banners over the bar, but we're the ones getting paid to show ads on those. Sometimes I help by sweeping the floor and cleaning the tables, or getting the place set up to open, like I am now. No such thing as too young to work in this part of the city. Not in practice, anyway. I've heard older people say that there were no bad parts of town in old Reykjavik. I don't know if that's true, but I imagine it gets a bit tougher when a city has to use everything it's got just to stay afloat. No pun intended. God damn it. In my experience, if you're old enough to fight, you're old enough to help out. Just not old enough to drink the booze. Hecla keeps a close watch on me for that. Honestly, I never dared to try. She comes across a bit rough, but I saw her fighting for real once, and since then I knew. None of the horseplay I ever got into with her could compare to the real thing. She could really dish it out. Someone must be a retired MMA fighter or something. I start taking the chairs from where they're stored on top of the tables and setting them upright on the floor. They're not heavy, so my uninjured hand works well enough. Hecla's behind the bar, turning on the lights and grills and checking over the stock of drinks, food, napkins, but her voice follows me around the room while we each click through our respective tasks like a couple well-oiled machines. So what were you up to last night, huh? What did I do last night? I still don't remember. I was just out. And somehow ended up unconscious, carried home by a kind stranger who must have seen you here before. You were all bloody, your face swollen, a cut on your hand. Why are you getting into knife fights? I thought you were steering clear of all that now. Well, it was worth a try. Hecla's a tough woman. She's been running a pub on her own since before I was born, and that means taking care of rowdy drunks. So, yeah, she knows the aftermath of a nasty fight when she sees it. Not that it'd take a genius to realize what happened with wounds like mine. Reykjavik. I don't know. Hold on. Oh, I think I just... No, hold on.
Reykjavik.
There we go. Reykjavik. Okay. Hopefully I remember that, because I'm a mess. I honestly don't remember, but I probably got into a fight. No kidding. Probably? Don't remember? Are you for real? Seriously, just as confused as she is, and she finally realizes that I mean it. I have no clue where I was last night, who I was with, or who I was fighting. I see. You really don't remember. Damn. We might need to get you checked out. If it could be because they got you in the head. She smirks, letting out an ironic laugh. Just means I get to have you around all the more to compensate me for the healthcare fees. Your choice is your responsibility. You're a legal adult now, after all. I stare at her and sigh. Is that her way of trying to lighten the mood? I mean, would it kill her to just say she cares? Seriously though, take care of yourself. Wow, she actually... If you die, you'll never be able to pay me back. God damn it. Whatever, I'm late for school. Hold on! Oh, because she's about to stab me or something else, but... Why don't you sit down? I'm starting some eggs. I come closer to the bar. I could hear and smell them starting to sizzle on the other side, but I didn't realize they were for me. I thought she was getting the to-go breakfast menu ready. She's actually a pretty good parent. Even if I never quite felt like her kid. It's nice memories. She was always honest about the fact that I was adopted. When I was little, she said my parents loved me, but they weren't able to take care of me, and that's why she offered to help. I mean, no way for her to know that, but it's a nice thing to say. Anyway, she didn't make me call her mom, so I didn't. She's single, never got married as far as I know. Never had any interest, I guess. No biological kids, there's just me. So, yeah, I try not to make her regret it. It's fine, I'm late anyway. I'll just eat on the... She gives me a very unimpressed stare. Just sit down and eat the... Still on a baby. Just sit down and eat the damned eggs before I send them directly at your face. Could you not give yourself 5 minutes to digest and eat? Enjoy your food after getting yourself beaten to a pulp the night before? I don't know if I'd say to a pulp. Your mom was a stolen baby. I trail off. As I sit down, I finally notice there's someone else in the room. First customer of the day. He approaches from the far corner behind some of the booths. Was he hiding back there? And yet Hecla doesn't seem surprised. Did she know he was there? Oh, that's weird. Your grandparents bought her and there was no paperwork. Okay, I mean, alright. She must have. He has one of our mugs in his hands. In his hand. He sets it on the counter. Hey there, kid. His clothes are covered in grime, and there's a dense smell about him. Yet he apparently has enough money to buy a drink, and he's drinking this early in the morning? When did he even get that drink? There's something strange about his smile as he looks at me. Drowning your sorrows so early, old man? You might be a customer, but I tend to be blunt regardless. When she was in her 30s, she wanted to find her birth parents, and she found out that she was basically a 60s black market baby. That's wild. Watch it. He's been here since last night on my invitation. I frown. What's she talking about? You two dating? Hecla glances to me, then raises an eyebrow at the old man. This kid has a death wish, apparently. The old man laughs and Hecla looks back to me. True. That's true. He's the one who found you yesterday and brought you here. You were unconscious, a total mess. You might owe him your life, so I paid him back with a mug of ale. You value my life very highly, I see. The old man laughs again. Stuck around to see if you were okay, that's all. But damn, kids your age recover so easily. Makes this old geezer miss his younger days for sure. That's all fascinating, but now I'm really late for school. Still, I don't want to be too much of an asshole. Well, thanks for saving my life or whatever. I could have said that better. This whole situation is so strange, it's throwing me off. I didn't. I just carried your ass here. I get a weird feeling as he says this, like something's off about his words. But I can't put my finger on what. What got you so fucked up, if you don't mind me asking, kid? I don't owe explanations about my life to some old washout, but I don't remember. It's all sort of a blank. This guy is handsome and also looks homeless. Did you sleep with your mom? Damn, they probably got you in the head. Hope you don't lose whatever good sense you got left. Yeah, real cute. Hecla just frowns and looks at me with worried eyes. Whatever, I gotta get moving. Don't die out there, kid. That's why he's being so weird. Awkward. Hecla starts serving the next batch of eggs to the old man as I head out. Oh, I saved your son. Oh no, I can't pay you in money. Hecla starts serving the next batch of eggs to the old man as I head out. Should I have asked his name? I'm not the best at this social shit. Though he also didn't need to be such an ass about the fact that I almost died. Anyway. My mind wanders back to yesterday, but a sharp pain pierces my forehead, and I remember nothing. Ugh, fine, let's just get to school. There's a med office there if I really need it, and maybe these memories will come back to me during the day. With that, I dash forward, my legs carrying me swiftly through the streets. It's kind of nice running, feeling the strength of my own legs, the air rushing past my face. Actually isn't so bad today. The air quality gets kind of shitty when the city ship isn't moving. Some people wear masks to filter it when they're outside, but that's definitely not needed now. Amnesia. Not for me anyway. I guess you could say I'm lucky. I'm in decent shape. I'm healthier than average. Just can't seem to stay out of trouble for reasons I can't remember. Farkas?
Nice.
Sarah, it's been a long time. What happened to your hand? This is so random and out of the blue. What happened to your hand? Don't worry about it. I wasn't expecting to run into you. Didn't think you wanted to talk to me after, you know, everything. Yeah, I know. But it's been years since we really talked, and I mean, I have missed you. Then I saw this, and it just had me worried that you might be in danger again. I have had a sigh. What's to miss? I'm kind of an asshole, right? She giggles. Her smile is kind of cute. Sure, you act like that now, but I knew you before all that, remember? I know that's not what you're really like. I know the real you. Still, I said some things, and it's probably still best if you weren't seen with me. They think you're close to me again, then. So, is that who did this? Your old gang? She reaches for him in a bandaged hand with concern, but hesitates, probably not wanting to hurt it if it's Thor. No, this is just... I just had an accident yesterday, that's all. I look away. It hurts to lie to her, but if she thinks I'm back to what I was like before... An accident? Are you sure? Yeah, nothing to worry about. It's me being clumsy, taking a fall, getting scratched up, still avoiding fights as much as I can. Oh, okay. Well, that's good, I guess. Will you get checked out at least if you hit your head? Yeah. Maybe now I'm even more messed up in the head. Fuck, now I'm cutting her off. It was like a knee-jerk reaction to remember the old guy's joke. I wasn't gonna joke about it. Head injuries are a real concern. Anyway, please see someone if you haven't already. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, I knew she was probably just thinking about my health, but I don't like people commenting on my intelligence. My grades aren't great, but that's not everything. Besides, it's not like I can't keep up. It's just hard to pay attention. Maybe I just don't like being talked down to. Plus, most of what we're learning just doesn't seem that important compared with everything else I have to worry about. I mean, what's a priority? Abstract math versus being able to physically defend myself. It's true. Yeah, maybe I'm a killer. Not having one of those augmented reality things doesn't help either. We didn't have them growing up, but now basically everybody has a heads-up display for their phone. So now, instead of being able to just look around and get whatever info I need overlaid onto my view of the world, I have to physically pull out my phone like a fucking caveman. But when I talked about getting one installed, Hecla just said she doesn't trust them. Whatever that means. It'd be nice to just instantly know everything like that, but if I'm honest with myself, that's just an excuse. If I actually tried to get good grades, well, whatever. Let's just go. She hesitates, pausing in her tracks. You mean, go to school? Together? Weren't you still worried about those guys thinking I'm close to you? You know what? Forget them. It's been long enough. Oh, I made her happy. You sure? You coming or what? It seems kind of silly now how long I've been avoiding her. Maybe this is a chance to move on, running into her like this. At the time, she was getting caught between me and the gang I was trying to break it off with, and the distance between us was the only way to stop them from harassing her too. Those guys are still around, and no doubt they still have it out for me, but how long am I going to let them run my life? Maybe they will cause trouble for Sarah again. If they try, I'll deal with that when it happens, but for now, I kind of just want to spend time with her again. Sarah hops over, cheerfully keeping pace alongside me. I really thought I was used to being on my own, but damn, I've missed this. Just having someone there. For a couple years, she was really my only friend when things got really bad. I did what I thought was best, but she deserves a lot better. We stick together until the school is in sight, then I wave her goodbye and we part ways. Lessons are boring as usual, nothing truly interesting happens, and I still have no clue what happened to me yesterday. If this keeps up, should I go to the hospital? Or would that be an overreaction? I mean, I feel fine. It's the memory loss I'm worried about. Walking home, I keep turning it all over in my head, trying to remember. The sound of raised voices shakes me out of my thoughts. Looks like a bunch of thugs about my age at the mouth of an alley up ahead. I'm pretty sure they didn't bother with school today, just out here dicking around, shaking people down for cash. Selling drugs? Who knows? They say it didn't used to be like this. Be like this in Iceland. I wish I could have seen that. These days, you see kids banding together like packs of wolves to get what they want. I'm not against fighting when I need to stand up for myself. I mean, that's part of what gets me in trouble, but right now they're beating up some small awkward kid. And it makes me sick. Cowards. Bunch of frail egos looking to soothe themselves by stopping on someone weaker. Just get a job. Jesus Christ. Come on, that can't be all of it. Small cricket. I swear I don't have anything else. Please. But your parents are rich. You must have like a credit code or... I'm telling you, I don't have it. Hold it. Like a scene out of a movie or something. A stranger jumps in to aid those in need. Is that really what I'm seeing? Stop! In the name of Hector Koskinen. Koskinen. Huh? Who? I cannot ignore this injustice. Release that kid at once. Does this guy watch too many cartoons or what? Did you just say Koskinen? Isn't that the name of the guy who like owns half the internet? His son or something? I don't know how many Koskinens there are in the world, but it's not an Icelandic name, so around here it sticks out like a sore thumb. Besides, there was something about a billionaire moving to the city not long ago. And I guess this kid does have a different accent. Oh shit, he has a different accent. But then why would he be in a district like this? Indeed, the Koskinen family controls the Verco Corporation, the nerve center of online media across Europe. Whether we're Europe or not is debatable, but okay. I guess we do use the euro now that there are only like 5 world currencies, but still. So what you're saying is, you're way richer than this other dude? Yes, most likely. He's saying all this shit with such a big grin, standing there proudly with his hands on his hips. The young kid runs away while he has a chance as the thugs turn toward a savior. Does this Hector guy have shit for... They're all surrounding him now with metal knuckles, pipes. He looks pretty screwed, but maybe he has a plan. The situation has me intrigued, so I linger just down the sidewalk from where they are. Close enough to hear, but not calling attention to myself. He would threaten me next? Fools. I warn you, if you come at me... There's a violent glimmer in his eyes. Somebody is going to get hurt. The thugs all take a step back, unsettled by his confidence and thirst for battle. What is he, a martial artist? A vigilante? And it'll be likely me. You? You? The thugs jump the rich ginger, clearly tired of his clown act. As expected, he's a mess. He gets punched, then kicked. He's already on the ground. He's tall, but not exactly strong, and more importantly, he doesn't know the first thing about fighting. Why did a guy like that go out of his way? That's what you get for helping others. That's what you get for getting involved. It's best to just keep walking. But I pause and start turning back around. Fuck, I hate this side of me. Hey, that's enough. I jump into the action, knocking one of the guys away from Hector and taking up a fighting stance next to him, ready to ward them off. You alright, redhead? This was nothing. Don't say that while your mouth is bleeding, dumbass. Oh. He wipes his mouth. Thanks for coming to my aid, stranger. Let's work together. Work together? He's already getting the shit kicked out of him and he's still raring to go. Tell me he better not change his mind. Look, you got us into this mess, so don't you dare change your mind and run away on me. You're seeing this through. Right, I don't care if he can't fight for shit. Even if he's no help at all, I'm not letting him dump this on me without taking responsibility. He drank his own blood. I am fine. But he raises his fist, a determined look in his eyes. He never had any intention of running, did he? But of course, together we shall prevail. Does he keep talking like that anyway? Some sort of goofy superhero act? He's weak and a complete goofball and probably won't be much help. And yet, but maybe I appreciate having someone fighting by my side for a change. So it's decided. We're fighting together. There are 2 of us. Although one of the 2 is useless. There are 5 of them. They're carrying weapons and Hector doesn't have anything on him. As for me, I usually carry a length of chain if I know to expect a fight. Not the most common choice, I know. In a city with such tight gun control, people get creative, but it's still mostly knives and bats. But the chain gives me reach while still being easy to carry. Tricky to get used to at first, but worth it. They don't allow things like that into school, though. Metal detects the door. So right now, my chain's at the pub. Just to rely on my fists and feet. Fine then. Come on, let's do this. They swarm us like a pack of animals using their superior numbers. One of them goes to punch Hector. He takes it, but is still standing. You got guts, Ginger. As for me, dodge. No way a punch like that would get me. People underestimate how important it is to stay mobile during a fight, but me, I've learned from a young age that if you can dodge, you dodge. Too slow. I simply step back to avoid the incoming swing and prepare my counter. Huh? The guy's fist flies off to the side, leaving him off balance and vulnerable for what's to follow. Kick up. While I usually favor my fists, the lower body is essential in any combat situation. Your legs carry you around all day. They're naturally stronger than your arms if you know how to use them. I'm no Shaolin monk. I never studied formal martial arts, so I'm pretty awkward when I'm kicking. But damn if I can't hit with the strength of a mule when I line things up right. I step to the side and drive my heel into his stomach with a loud thud, sending him stumbling back. More like flying back. Look at him go. Damn, he actually leaves the ground to hit the wall behind him. I guess I'm getting better at this. I was worried I might be out of practice or that my wounds would slow me down, but I guess not. I keep moving fast, swinging against my assailants before they can get to me. Some of them are taller or more muscular, but that's overrated. What really matters in fights like this is reflexes and instinct. Farkas is an agility-based fighter. Once you have enough experience, the flow of the fight becomes second nature, and that's what gives you an edge. Don't stay in one place. Move. Never give them a chance to surround you or pin you down. I imagine that's something that you can... your choice changes what kind of fighter he is. Oh! I weave around them while landing hits when I can, light on my feet. My battle senses are flashing. Why did that go twice? Weird. Keeping me from getting hit. I was never taught any of this. I just learned from doing it over and over again. From the pain of screwing up. I dance this dance enough times to anticipate their next attack before I see it. That's the key to winning. Reaction time. Another one's charging at me. This one has a knife. Those are dangerous. I could actually die here. How do I handle this? Let's trip him. He charges at me, so I'll use his momentum against him. It works. He completely loses balance and falls. Hard. Face first on the ground. Good. Now hopefully he stays down. But even as I think that, the first one's already getting back up. So I've still got one of them on me, but these guys are a joke. Must be some new wannabe gang. The moment I relax. Ha! Fucker. He gets me with a punch to the side of my face. Spinning with the force of the punch, I see Hector behind me. Is this all you've got? Sounds like he's doing... Dude! He's on the ground, curled to protect himself, laughing between grunts of pain while his sides get kicked by the other two thugs. There's brave and there's reckless, but this guy is on another level. I need to finish this quickly so I can help him. Him with a headbutt. I turned back to the guy and just charged him, putting all my strength into my neck muscles as I thrust forward. My forehead bangs against his and he stumbles back, passing out. I would laugh, but my head hurts like a bitch shortly after the impact. For a moment I feel dizzy. It's like a gong ringing in there, reverberating long after the impact. Why did I think that was a good idea? Oops, I already have a head injury from yesterday. Farkas, you idiot! Fuck. I guess it's fine, at least I'm not bleeding. With what head injuries can do to you, I'm not actually sure if this is better. Oops, that was not a good decision. Return, charging the remaining two who are kicking Hector. Yeah, at least I'm not bleeding. Did you see how I held them back? He seems awfully proud of himself. Yeah, great job, bud. Now let me. It's true, actually. They were focusing on Hector, so it turns out it will be easier for me to take these guys down. I punch and kick them away, doing as much as I can before they notice I joined this side of the fight. One stumbles back and I catch the other in the jaw just right to knock him unconscious. The one thug still on his feet looks at me and I just glare at him with tired irritation, fists still raised. He runs. My fists hurt, my face hurts, my legs are starting to give out. But we won. Somehow we won. And Hector's giving me a thumbs up from the ground. Serves them right. Oh, why does laughing hurt? Hector tries to push to his feet, but sinks back down, clutching his sides. I frown at him. Don't make a habit of this, you'll get yourself killed. He chuckles through pained breaths. How my lungs poked. But that was great. Great. Exactly, we did it. We saved that kid. You got some kind of hero complex? Hector smiles and shakes his head. I just do what I can. What's your name, friend? Farkas. Look around you, Farkas. What do you think of this world? Huh? Glance around with a shrug. This sky is the same gray as ever. Gangs have the run of the place. A lot of people are too poor to afford medicine or even healthy food. Blizzards, hurricanes, even nature is trying to kill us. Not that humans aren't to blame for messing with nature in the first place, but it's shit. Exactly. So, don't you see? The world's already a terrible place. But today, we protected a kid from some thugs. We made it slightly better. All it takes for the world to stay as it is for people to not give a damn. And all it takes to change it is to act when there's a chance, even if it's something small. It wouldn't have been small if you died, if I hadn't been here. You have to be smart about these things. I couldn't think of anything smarter this time. I just had to make a split-second decision whether to help that kid or not, so I did. I probably can do better, but I'm still not going to sit around uselessly in the meantime and let people like that keep me afraid. I see. I hate it, but somehow I can't disagree. So that's what happened. He has no experience, but he saw someone in trouble and didn't have the heart to just look the other way. Sounds like he's finally talking like a normal person, though, so it's not like he's lost touch with reality then. He just put on a hero act to get through what would otherwise be a terrifying situation. Alright, go ahead and change the world then, but I'm out. Stop! Hmm? He playfully slips back into his hero persona as it continues. While ordinarily I'd be content to bask in the glory of victory, I can't help but recognize... Did also start the water for my tea though, so... Okay. Anyway, your contributions today were vital to our shared success. I did like 99% of the fighting, even if I lowball it. What the fuck? Okay, sure. And I'd like to hire you. Be my bodyguard. No, better. Be sidekick. Sidekick? Consider the possibilities. What would that even mean? Like, what do you plan? Like, what do you plan to do? Go around rescuing kittens from fire escapes and shit like that? Who knows? It depends on what the world needs. Basically, we hang out together, and if we see some way we can make things better, we do it. You really think it's gonna help the world for me to repeatedly save your life from thugs when you could just stay safe in a mansion somewhere? With your knowledge of these streets, I'm sure we could pick better marks and use better techniques. What do you think I'd be paying you for? Paying me? Of course, I just said I wanted to hire you. Yeah, I remember. Just, you think I'll literally do literally anything for money, even pointlessly risk both of our lives? Maybe that's how it works in your Virgo Corporation land or whatever. No, that wasn't my... If I risk my life on a daily basis following you around, it'd be because I want to, not because somebody bought me. That would be except I don't want to. I'm not so different from the guys I just beat up, and I know from experience that I don't want to be mixed up in all this anymore. Trust me, you don't want a gang to start recognizing you and seeing you as a problem. Besides, you don't get to be my boss. Even if I were willing to do this, it'd need to be on my terms. Sidekick? I'm not playing second fiddle to a guy who doesn't know how to fight. Perfect. I get it now, Farkas. You're a true man among men. You won't be my sidekick or bodyguard. That's right. So instead, we'll be friends. Wait a minute. Master Hector, so that's where you... A very formally dressed man approaches as Hector and I head away from the scene of the fight. He sighs. You know, I was waiting to pick you up half an hour ago. I would appreciate it if you'd notify me. Sorry, there was a bit of an emergency. Getting a better look at Hector, the newcomer's eyes widen and snap over to me. What happened to you? An emergency involving this punk? It's fine, Mikal. This is a friend of mine. He helped me out of a bad spot back there. That's all there is to it. I see. So you've gotten yourself into trouble again. Again? How did you survive the other times? Survive? You mean literally? Normally I'm with him and we're able to just leave. He turns back to Hector. I recommend we return before your absence is noticed. Yeah, sounds like this'll have to be it for me, Farkas. I appreciate your help, friend. He extends his hand, offering to shake mine. His family is as rich as it sounded. I have no idea what he might think is normal. He's probably used to solving his problems with money. Money might be how he gets everything. Everything is a transaction, and if the money is right, no one refuses. So for him, someone who says no, someone he can't just ask to do as he pleases, I might not feel like we're friends just from that fight, but maybe I'm the closest thing he's found. He's smiling, but there's a clear loneliness in his eyes that I recognize. So I'm the same way. Not rich, but we're both alone on our path. Forget that. Dismissively, I slap his hand away. You... Don't act like this is goodbye, dumbass. I open my phone's map and pull up Ice and Dice, holding the screen out to show him. This is where I live. You live in a pub? Upstairs. I live up... Just go there when you're bored, alright? With a sigh, I step away, hands in my pockets, wondering what exactly I just got myself into. You should be only a little wise, never too wise. A wise man's heart is seldom glad if he's truly wise. Okay, back to Althea. Part 2, Chapter 0. The three officers who'd been in the van lead me back past the front desk and down a sterile-looking corridor to a meeting room with a long table at the center. There are displays on the wall as well as on the surface of the table, but all of these are currently off as we enter. They motion for me to sit down, and two of them join me while the other heads out down the hall. My water is ready. Brewing. I have a really big tea ball. I really need something smaller, and I put quite a bit of tea in here, but I figure I can brew again. For like a second cup. Honestly, more often than not, even with just regular tea bags, I'll at least use them twice. Okay, anyway. They motion for me to sit down, and two of them join me while the other heads out down the hall. Not long after, the officer who'd left returns alongside of me in a pressed and polished business suit, contrasting with the armored gear of the Special Forces officers. A pleasure to meet you, Miss Mishra. He extends a hand to shake mine, and I stand and take it, though, after a slight pause. I'm not sure whether I should be surprised that you know my surname. Does that mean you've been watching me, or do you just know things about everybody? Admittedly, just getting your image from the city security cameras would have been enough to quickly run facial recognition, but he gives a slight open palm shrug like he's putting everything on the table. Perfectly trustworthy. I should admit that, in fact, we have had an eye on you of late. In fact, we're hoping you can help us. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Director Alan Talling. Is it because you're tall? Ah, so you're English then, based on your name and accent. Oh, it's English. Most Icelanders speak English, so at first I thought he'd just done a very good job learning the accent. Yes, in fact, I'm not part of the Icelandic police force at all. You don't say. You see, what we're dealing here with is much larger than any one nation, and so our organizations have been banding together to some degree. I work for British military intelligence. He gestures towards the chairs surrounding the meeting table and goes to sit down. I have to admit that your name stood out to me as well. A Sanskrit surname, but a given name of Greek origins. Well, I mean, my dad is from Amritsar and my mom is from Greece, but you probably knew all that already. The dad base does, but as for me, I'm just a mortal man who does his best to keep up with his briefings. He smiles pleasantly. I'm sure you do more than that if you're a director within military intelligence, but this isn't what we're here to talk about, is it? What are you up against? He sighs softly, tapping the touch controls on the table display's surface, seeming to gather his words while bringing up something to show me. I glance around at the 3 officers sitting with us at the table, their helmets now removed. They've been quiet this whole time, seeming to let the director say everything. Kamani, please bring the relic here. The woman who'd been my guide thus far stands, her helmet under her arm. Yes, sir. As she leaves, an image appears on the wall screen in front of us, a view of the globe. There are various points on it that are labeled, each with a name from mythology. This isn't exactly publicized, but there have always been elements in our organizations that sought to understand the esoteric, or whatever useful scientific truth there may be behind it. As such, with our intelligence resources, we have accumulated data on the unexplained over the years and have gradually formed a clearer picture. The door slides open again to reveal Kamani carrying a small case in both hands, about the size of a backpack. She sets it on the table and opens it. The director gestures toward the contents. Take a look. I stand to get a better view. Inside is a small wooden chest, weathered with time, its sides adorned with Norse runes of the Elder Futhark alphabet. Silver would know how to pronounce that. I don't know if that's correct. Go ahead and open it. I hesitate, my hand hovering over the chest. It's really alright to touch it? I don't want to accidentally damage something priceless, but he gestures towards it reassuringly. Sure, it's fine. Please. I reach for the ancient chest within its modern protective case, easing its lid off with both hands and setting it aside on the table. Inside is an apple. A perfectly fresh and ordinary-looking apple. Such a strikingly mundane object inside of this ominous-looking chest just leaves me staring. It's so bizarre that I have to stifle a laugh. Did someone use this to store a snack? What? Why put that in there? The eyes of everyone in the room are now on the apple, leaning forward to see into the chest. So it's true. So what's true? No one put the apple in there. No one else was able to get the box to do this for them. But just to be sure, let's try it again. Would you like to have this one? He gestures towards the apple. Have it? Yes, try a bite of it. He seems completely serious. Normally, this would all seem ridiculous, but after the experiences of the past day, I'm almost prepared to believe him. I admit I'm intrigued. He thinks I'm fun. He smiles and motions for me to go ahead. I reach into the box and pick it up. Just a normal apple so far. He replaces the lid on top of the chest once it's empty. I bite into it. Still seems normal. Chew, swallow, nothing magical as far as I can tell. For good measure, he lifts the lid again himself to show that the box remains empty, then closes it and motions towards me. Now open the chest again. I cock my head at him, brows furrowed, but slowly reach forward to remove the lid once again. There's another apple inside. I drop the lid on the table with a clank, jerking back in surprise. Jesus! After a couple of breaths, I get my bearings. Is this some kind of magic trick? It isn't a trick, or at least it isn't one we created. I gesture at the chest, perplexed. Why show me this? We think it's yours. Mine? Why would I own a box that generates infinite apples? Not only that, there's something else I was eager to test, if anyone was able to get the chest to work. I realize this isn't exactly a scientifically rigorous test procedure, but... He takes the new apple from the chest, turns it around in his hand for a moment, and finally takes a bite of it. Kamani's eyes widen at him, as if she wasn't expecting him to do something so reckless, but she holds her tongue. As he chews and swallows, it's as if his skin begins to glow with energy, his features somehow becoming malleable as they shift and smooth. After a moment, his face is clearly that of the same man, but where before there was a lined face and graying hair, now there's the face of a young man seemingly fresh out of university. The officers are silent, staring. His eyes go out of focus, seeming to study something on his HUD. No doubt his own image from the security cameras. Goodness. What the hell is going on? I looked at Komani and then to the two other officers, trying to gauge what they thought of all this. So you really have seen things like this. I knew the assassins had tech we don't understand, but nothing so spectacular as this until now. Personally. Though, of course, I'd seen the reports of our predecessors. He looks back to me. So you might guess, apples from this chest are said to restore youth and health. Since you're still a teenager and aren't terribly injured, it wouldn't do much to you. But as for me, I chew slowly, wondering what the hell this apple is doing to me. Do I feel more energized? No longer exhausted from those sprints for my life earlier? What makes you think this is mine? Other than the fact that you're the only one who's been able to make it work ever since it was found? I assume your parents didn't tell you all the details about your early life, but there are certain signs associated with the rebirths of deities. Or so say the obscure, largely oral records we found ourselves digging into. Idun is a Norse goddess who is responsible for maintaining the gods' immortality by feeding them rejuvenating apples. I've heard of that. She isn't one of the most famous Norse deities, so it must have slipped my mind. So you're saying that's me? This is too surreal. What is he saying my parents knew but kept from me? You're one of the handful of beings we've been keeping an eye on. But most importantly, there's one who, if left alone, could cause the very destruction of this world. That's why we need the help of individuals such as yourself. We might stand a chance against a supernatural force unless we have supernatural allies. I sit down again, heavily and with a sigh. I'd been standing ever since we started inspecting the chest. I know it's a lot and it's strange for all of us, but one way or another, we've got to deal with this. So what exactly am I supposed to help with? Does someone need to be made younger? Aside from signs pointing us to people like you, we've been tracking signs associated with other events. Specifically, in recent years, there have been far too many occurrences to ignore, which correlate to the prophecy of Ragnarok. 3 winters without summer. Among other things. I see you have some awareness of Norse mythology, but we've gone much deeper than what one can find on a public search engine. But as for what you've probably heard, winters, skies stuck in a gray overcast twilight, wars, division of humanity against itself, until finally the events of Ragnarok truly begin with wolves swallowing the sun and moon, with earthquakes as Fenris Wolf breaks free. Which in turn breaks Loki's prison as well. And together as father and son, they seek the destruction of both this world and the gods. Revenge for their binding and torment. I can tell you've enjoyed studying these stories. It showed in the way he spoke of them. And as if for a moment we weren't in a conference room at all, but gathered around a fire while he, as some village elder, gave his dramatic rendition of the ancient tales. Yes, well, there is something poetic about it all. But at any rate, he says as briskly and coldly as if attempting to move the conversation along. Is he embarrassed? It's kind of funny seeing this side of him, and now that he looks so much younger, well... I'm actually finding him cute right now? Seriously, Rain, why? Seems like the last thing that should cross my mind at a time like this, but, well, apparently it did. Even though he looked like he could be a grandfather a few minutes ago, now I can't help but see him as someone more like a classmate. And a fellow student of mythology, too. Someone I could see myself seeking out at lunch to chat with about what we're reading and trade goofy jokes full of ancient references no one else would get. I guess I really do wish I had a friend like that. And on top of that, there's something contagious about his animated, upbeat energy. Even when he's talking about grim and dangerous stuff. I want more of it. But what am I supposed to do about that now? He's not my classmate or my peer. What am I going to do? Flirt with someone older than my parents? Let out a sigh. Something wrong? You seem distracted. Oh, just tired, probably. But again, if what he said about me is true, does that mean I'm technically way older than he is? Ugh, until I remember being that old, I might as well not be. I need to get a lot clearer on this whole situation before I start thinking about any of this. Anyway, there remains the serious business of how we handle this. We can't allow the world to be torn apart by supernatural forces. And so, we find the real-world equivalent of this Fenrir and are sure that he remains bound. I don't see how apples help with that. What we need is a deity capable of actually doing the binding. And more than one deity if we can manage. A legendary beast like that is nothing to trifle with. I don't really know how to fight. I mean, I've had self-defense classes before, but I raise my palms in a shrug. If you're expecting me to have special powers, then I have no idea how to use them, if I even have them. I'm not too concerned about that. He puts the lid on the box again and slides it toward me across the table. I suspect that, reunited with this, things will start coming back to you. As you just saw, they already have. It's going well. I had to stop a few times because Nova woke up, and I did start brewing my tea. Beautiful, like, pinkish red color. I'm gonna let it sit for just a little bit longer. And it's very interesting. I don't know if you caught any of... We played out the beginning of Farkas's story. And we met Hector. And now we're back to Althea, learning that she is a Norse goddess. Who was it? Hold on. Oh. Idun. Or Idun. I'm not sure. Okay. How do you propose to trap something like Fenrir? Or do you expect me to improvise? Right. Similar to how it was done in the legends, with a tie of legendary strength. Another relic. So I'm just there for magical protection in case something goes wrong. Not exactly. You see, there's only one tie we know of that's strong enough to stop Fenrir, but it's in bad shape. Gleipnir, an unnaturally strong chain, thin as a silken ribbon, has held him all this time and is only now starting to give way. Farkas has a chain. If it's going to continue doing its job, then it needs to be mended. If the dwarves who made it could be found, they might be able to repair it, but given what we've been able to find so far, as a goddess of rejuvenation and healing, you're currently our best bet. We can't feed an apple to a metaphysical chain. We need you, not just an object made by some previous version of you. Yeah, I have several questions. Okay, I think we can ask all these questions. What about all the other religions and myths of the world? Oh, he loves this topic. Are you really saying Norse mythology is the one true religion and the rest are just wrong? Not at all. I'm using Norse terminology right now because it's the most relevant to current events, but we have some knowledge of the truth behind a variety of traditions. Of course, there are also many things we don't know, as you've seen, but we know enough to realize that a proactive approach is sometimes necessary, as it is now. And yet, you're saying a goddess, who in the past was always associated with the Norse, has now decided to reincarnate into my family? Neither of my parents have Norse ancestors. Not that I know of. You misunderstand. Specific ancestry is by no means a requirement. These beings don't belong to one culture or another, even though different cultures may remember them in different ways. We don't know all the cultures that each of them interacted with, or all the different names that they went by when they did, but we've put together enough of these connections to know that these beings got around. Perhaps some more than others, but still. So you're saying the one called Idun by the Norse could have been known by other names elsewhere around the world? Exactly. Though you may need to remember the details for yourself. Our records are unfortunately incomplete. What do you have in your records, though, that you can talk about? What other gods are we dealing with, and who were they to different cultures? Some of it is still speculation, but let's see. There's quite a bit of overlap between the legends of various lightning and thunder gods known across Indo-European history. The Baltic god Kunis, the Slavic god Perun, the Hindu god Indra, the Celtic god Tyrannus, Ukko from Finnish mythology, and of course Thor. Many of them are considered defenders of humanity, who ride chariots pulled by goats and wield hammers or axes. You left out Zeus. Was there a reason? So I did. Let me put it to you this way. We're confident that several of these names refer to the same individual, but not that all of them do. There are certainly those who link Thor to Zeus or Jupiter, but in my professional opinion, their personalities seem different. Separate individuals who are cut from the same cloth in some regards, perhaps. I'd say the same about the connection between the wisdom lovers, Odin, Thoth, and Hermes. The last two are clearly the same person, even medieval alchemists picked up on that much. We believe he's an ancient mage who visited Greece and Egypt. But there's a warrior spirit about Odin that sets him apart. Again, in my professional opinion. I am really enjoying this. I am. I'm liking this a lot. The only thing I don't like is the having to read everything. Because that makes me tired. But that goes for any sort of unvoiced visual novel sort of thing. But I'm really enjoying, so far I'm really enjoying this story. There's no, and I just like that it's, kind of like all visual novels are. It's, self-paced. There's no quick time events. There's no timed events. There's no anything like that. And you can just kind of go as you please. I am interested to see how different choices you make will supposedly carry over to, further installments and stuff. I don't know, 2 hours or so into this, and I'm not having a bad time. I don't know how you guys are feeling about it, though. I'm liking it. Let's see. I just want to check their Patreon real quick, because they do have a Patreon. Oh, there was an update last month. Or no, end of January. Okay, so it looks like they have a chapter 1 preview up for higher level patrons. So I imagine that this is probably just the chapter 0 for both characters. This is quite, for a demo, this is quite lengthy. But I kind of get it though, because you kind of need to be drawn into the story to really kind of, I feel like, make a decision on your thoughts of the demo. Wait, mage? One who uses magic or whatever these supernatural forces are. You could also say God. The lines are blurred. Hi, Jenna. So humans can become gods? Or humans have been called a lot of different things. Oh, have called a lot of different things gods. Well, that doesn't mean those things are all the same. Some might have just been very powerful or wise humans. Others might have been other origins entirely, beings from other planes, that sort of thing. He lightly shifts his weight, clearing his throat and then smiling. I'm rambling, aren't I? I shouldn't let you get me started. We have plenty to cover that's more relevant to our current task. But you are saying you think there's a Zeus out there somewhere doing Zeus things? Impregnating everything in sight? Or at least there was? Smirks good-naturedly. No comment. You don't have clearance to know everything. Let's focus on Ragnarok. Alright, what if Fenrir doesn't actually want to destroy the world? If Fenrir breaks free at all, for any reason, it won't matter. If we understand correctly, if the wolf's full supernatural spirit becomes unshackled, the disruption will free Loki. And I don't think we can ever trust Loki. Why would God start showing up in human form like you're saying I did? And why would we need you to tell us what we are? That's one of the mysteries in all this, but one thing we know is that these beings whom history calls gods are weaker now than they used to be, or less able to take physical form or access the human world at all. Perhaps starting again as a human infant is the best that many of them can manage in order to take action on the eve of Ragnarok, or at least a potential Ragnarok. We still have hope of averting it. Holy fire. I feel like if I heard Loki, these people talking about it, you would laugh. Probably. Alright, let's sip this tea. Oh, I mean, I did just drink some soda, but oh, that's good. This is the happy place. Oh, it's like fruity, and oh, I left the bag in the kitchen because it's open. Let me go look up the description of this again. Oh, the spring sampler is currently sold out right now. But yes, this is Happy Place from Friday Tea. Let's throw that in the chat that I am sipping on right now. This is papaya, white tea, apple, pineapple, rose hip, orange peel, hibiscus, and rose petal. Oh, this is really good. If they're weaker, then that means their war would be easier to stop, right? It buys us some time, but as soon as they remember who they are, they still have power beyond what any human war has known. Yes, they do. They also had some Xena ones and some other stuff, yeah. What could have made them weaker in the first place? Who knows? Perhaps the world just used to be a more magical place. He shrugs. Sorry. But that doesn't make the supernatural any less dangerous when it does rear its head. Who are these assassins after me? Well, based on who would want you dead and all this, I can only assume they're working for Loki. But didn't you say Loki is still trapped? Yes, if he weren't, I'd imagine we'd have a lot more trouble on our hands and it'd be impossible for the public to ignore. That doesn't mean he couldn't have followers out in the world doing what they can in the meantime. Oh, thank you! I have to be honest, I only just followed the Twitter today, and I didn't get a chance to dig into their recent posts. That's good, because I didn't realize that at least half the characters have accents that I wasn't giving them, which is probably for the best. Ava's like, oh no. Eve. Oh my god, I can see my hair color changing in real time because stupid lighting. Thanks. Ava has been working with Loki somewhat recently. They may not have any idea what help we're seeking from you, or I hope they don't. But if Loki's revenge includes destroying the gods, then not only are you among their number, but you're the one who keeps them immortal. The Scorpio tea has like peppers and peppercorn in it too. I was talking about that earlier. One of the freebies I got also has peppercorn in it. It's fine. Ava's having a fine time, and it's fine. But if Loki's revenge includes destroying the gods, then not only are you among their number, but you're the one who keeps them immortal. You're saying he'd want to make sure I don't save them. More or less, as far as we can assume anyway. He has done much worse. This is true. This is true. Silver, can you pronounce this for me? Is this Glepnir? Glepnir? I don't know. I should have like done some research, I think. It is, okay. Where's this Glepnir chain now? I am like 99%. We're back to my like I am like 99% sure that Farkas is Fenrir, but that's just a theory that I have. Since the Earth isn't cracking open just yet, we can only assume it's still on Fenrir. Though it must be starting to fray, since an element of Fenrir has appeared in the world. That's what we're tracking. even if the bulk of the wolf's power is still bound on Fenrir. Komani makes quotation marks with her fingers. We don't even know if there's a physical chain. If it's something that binds the spirit, it might be more like a spell. So you want me to heal the spirit chain, and that's what will strengthen a kind of binding spell? Sounds like as good a way to describe it as anything I can think of. No more questions. To make a long story... means open one. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Silver. To make a long story short, one of our contacts is arranging for Fenrir, or at least the aspect of it that's manifested in the world, to be at a specific secure location. Once that's all in place, we can bring you in to repair the bonds, hopefully without too much of a fight. Between now and then, you have some time to remember how to do what you do. Do what I do? I don't even know where to start. At this point, we can only pray that it comes back to you before it comes back to our enemies. Hopefully the box will help. Fingers crossed. Is that all you've got? He tilts his head. Try to remember your early childhood in Amritsar. What happened around the time you had to leave? Uh-oh. Story alert. What happened around each time you had to move? How many places around the world have you lived at this point? Conveniently left out backstory. I sit back in my chair. Well, not really left out because they're talking about it now. But I sit back in my chair, eyes trailing up the wall, thinking, how many places have we lived? You don't have to answer right now. We have accommodations for you here, where you can stay in safety until the time comes. Stay? What about my family? What are they supposed to think? They're aware of more than you realize. So don't worry, they'll know you're safe. So they know about... and tell us. I study him for a moment. His phrasing is vague, but his tone is gently, yet very clearly implying that he doesn't intend to explain more. It's made out of the sound of a cat's footfall, the beard of a woman, the roots of a mountain, the sinews of a bear, the breath of a fish, and the spit of a bird. I didn't know birds could spit. I didn't think they could. Why can't you give me the whole story? But that's interesting. Thank you, Silver. To avoid compromising them, of course, we have to be extremely careful in times such as these. They can't. The tricky part. Got it. Yeah. What happens if I decline to be part of your plan? We aren't going to threaten you, but we also can't in good conscience allow you to just go out on your own and get yourself killed. So, really, we're not giving you a choice, but also we are. But also, you don't really get a choice. Does that mean I'm a prisoner here? Do you really want to leave? We've explained what's at stake. Do I? I'm using my Critical Role mug, by the way. The Jorhas mug. It is purple, despite what my camera says. This is very good. I didn't put, like, sweetener or sugar or anything in it. It would be good with some honey, though, I think. It's definitely getting more tart as it sits. Do we want to be chaotic? Perhaps I do. Oh! Now he finds me unreasonable, and she is concerned. He looks at me with a confused expression, open palms upward, and a what the fuck gesture, though he refrains from saying anything like that. Why? I'd rather do this my own way, and if I really am a goddess, I should be able to manage, don't you think? We're only trying to be your allies, remember? Please, let me show you where you'll be staying. I won't be staying down here. I stand up, about to head back toward the door, but I suddenly realize that two otherwise silent officers are just behind me on either side. Their hands grip my upper arms, and there's an odd twinge of something at a point on my neck before I feel my eyelids grow heavy. We don't want to fight you. His voice remains gentle, almost friendly, as it had been the entire meeting. You're going to have to reconsider. And even if you don't want to, we're going to make you reconsider. Any surprise, confusion, or anger I might normally have felt is muted by whatever they used to sedate me. Now all I feel is the irresistible plunge into sleep. At first, my sleep is nothing but unconscious darkness. But then... What now? Right? I'm in a corridor of stone masonry, punctuated by pillars along the walls and covered by the decorative arches of a vaulted ceiling. I'm walking somewhere. Like, I know where I'm going. I arrive at a heavy wooden door, which I push open. On the other side, I'm struck by what seems like a chaotic mess. People are lying on the floor in various states of injury and sickness while others circulate, tending to them. It takes me a moment to start seeing the order in the chaos. The array in which these people have been laid out and the clockwork movements of their caretakers. Bandaging them, feeding them, administering treatments I don't immediately recognize. Are these victims of some sort of attack? A disease? Both? I find myself moving farther into the room and I become aware of something in my arms. I've been carrying a basket of bread rolls. One of the caretakers approaches me and I start to register more about her appearance. She's dressed as a nun. She speaks to me. It isn't English, or at least not modern English, but I understand it clearly. I must start delivering the bread I brought to those who can eat it. I do so without question. This was obviously what I came to do. Leaning down next to each person, checking if they're awake, offering them a roll. There's a young man who gratefully takes bread I offer, receiving it with both hands. But before he can eat it, he begins coughing violently. It seems he can barely breathe, and I notice blood trailing from his mouth when he lowers his hand from it. I worry that he's going to suffocate and reach forward in concern, even though I don't know how I could help. I feel my hand pulled somehow to his chest where it sticks like a magnet. I'm sure I could pull it away if I really wanted to, but I feel like I should leave it there. This feels important. I feel a rush of energy down my arm, tingling, warming my palm. My eyes widen. The sensation grows until it's nearly overwhelming. The man stares at me, his coughing paused, the roll having dropped from his hand onto his blanket. He instinctively clasps his hand over mine as his breathing comes slow and deep. As if he'd been dying of thirst and is now gripping a pitcher of water to his mouth. The rush of energy through my arm surges with each of his breaths, but eventually the feeling becomes more gentle and then fades. He releases my hand, nodding weakly and murmuring his thanks with surprised yet grateful eyes still locked on mine. And then he sinks back, leaning against the wall and resting peacefully, his breath coming easily. His bread remains uneaten for now, but I leave it with him. Whatever I felt was nothing the others could see. To them, it just looked like I watched with concern as he regained his breath. But I knew something had happened. Time becomes more fluid now, moving from this particular day forward, and I see myself offering similar treatment to others coming through this place. Instinctively, quietly. I'm not a doctor, I'm just a novice. Then, I'm sitting in some sort of library studying when a set of footsteps approach behind me. Turning, I see a priest flanked by 2 armed guards. I stand slowly. Something wrong, Father? The voice is different from mine, but it nonetheless comes from me. You're aware of the Cardinal's visit. The Inquisition has been reviewing our ranks, and they've heard testimony about your activities. There's both hardness and sadness in his eyes. This man knows me, perhaps since I was a child growing up here. During your service to the refugees, you resorted to witchcraft. Tapped into dark powers to mend their bodies, but in doing so, put their souls in jeopardy, as well as your own. What? But they healed. Demons don't do that. If they healed, then it's by the grace of God. Please. There was sorrow in his voice, his eyes downcast for a moment. We all know that such miracles wouldn't manifest in you, not without some sort of infernal contract. Wow, rude. Tea is making my nose run. You knew how it looked. Why else would you keep it a secret? The Inquisition may yet be able to save you and purge you of this, but you must come with us. But purge it how? He hesitates. By burning the evil from you before finally offering you back to the Lord. Burning? But even heretics at most are just imprisoned or temporarily excommunicated until they've given sufficient penance. Perhaps the supposed hedge witch pretending that pagan superstitions and spells actually work might be treated like that. Because that sort of witchcraft is as fake as the pagan gods themselves. It's simple ignorance, more easily forgiven. I mean, we get to that eventually, but I'm really into this. The witchcraft we have to worry about is the kind that involves dark forces who can grant real power for a price. What you're able to do, it's like nothing I've ever seen. You've done something real. That's a lot more dangerous than some yokel who still thinks Odin and Thor actually exist. Wow, this guy seems jealous. So please. His voice is soft, but his gesture firm as he motions towards the door, his eyes now locked on mine. But I don't move, frozen, staring at him. Can he really be saying that I have to die? No. The guard stepped forward, reaching out to take my arms and drag me out with him. I raised my hands defensively as if warding them off, ducking my head behind my forearms as if they could shield me not only from the guards, but from the crumbling, hopeless future that I see before me. I cry out in desperation. No! A surge of energy rushes through my body, similar to when I offer healing, but different. Not a flow, but a pulse. The guards stop as if facing a nasty wind that blows back against them, making it impossible for them to come any closer. Some invisible barrier bars their path, fed by the current rushing through me and radiating out from my hands. The priest stares at me in amazement and terror. I stare back just as dumbfounded. I've never seen anything like this before either. The guards stumble back, finally unable to keep their footing against the sudden pressure driving them away from me. I lower my hands, staring at them. My palms feel like they're burning, but they look normal. Now, quickly! Before the guards can move in again, another voice booms from the doorway behind them all. Stop. I look. There's a silhouette there which takes shape as it comes into the room, and I recognize the distinct design of the cardinal's robes. And his face as well. The face of an older man I don't remember seeing before, and yet I recognize him. The director. Sister Judith, we have much to discuss. Avoid evil, whatever path you take. I don't think you'll live long, Prince of Warriors. Great battles are before you. Farkas, Part 2. Chapter 0. Hey, Farkas, wake up. I'm sick today. I pull myself deeper under the blankets, resisting the cold embrace of morning. Yeah, you're sick every day. Come on, get up. Your rich friend is downstairs. Oh. Ever since that fight, Hector's been stopping by to visit every day. Apparently he cleared it with his chaperone or whatever, Mikhail, that he could walk with me instead of riding with him to and from school. At least part of the way. But by his one-sided decision, I guess we're friends now. Or we're now friends. I swear I can read. Why did I have to give him this stress? Well, it's not like playing video games with him isn't fun. He let me borrow a really expensive VR console that just came out, and I'm pretty sure he plans to just leave it here. It's generous, but something about it annoys me. I just have to work so hard for these things, whereas he just throws them around like it's nothing. But he doesn't seem to have any clue about that. This is just his way of trying to be a good friend. It's only been a couple weeks, but somehow he's worming his way into my life. He's also strangely cool with how much of an asshole I am. I'm not trying to be, but after fending for myself for so long, it's like it just comes out of me as he's breathing without thinking about it. If this keeps up, he might even become my best friend. I shudder just thinking about it. Can you kill him for me? Yeah, I'd rather not go to jail. Plus, he's a good customer. Customer? I never see him eating when I go down. Yesterday, he ordered a bottle of water with a €100 tip. As usual, what Hector lacks in common sense, he makes up for with money. Water isn't free, it has to be processed from the ocean after all, but even €1 would normally be enough for the better tasting brands. Euros have gotten more valuable ever since those digital currency regulations I never really understood. So, 100? I mean, damn, if Hector actually gets himself stabbed one of these days, he'll probably bleed money. I get dressed and head downstairs. Hector's there, sure. Oh, Sure enough, but he's not alone. That old man is back from the day after the fight I still can't remember. Ironic, but this is exactly the kind of place where a beggar and a billionaire would share drinks. The guy actually does beg. I still know nothing about him. And Hector's only having water, but still. Farkas, good morning, my friend. Hector greets me with his usual exhausting cheerfulness. Oh, if it ain't the kid from before. How's the hand? Hey, I'm fine. You're ready to go, right? Okay, let's go. I pull him by the arm and we quickly leave the pub. Whoa, wait, I have to pay. I'm sure you've paid enough for a year's supply of water already. Continue at the door with Hector. For some reason, I just feel like I gotta get out of here. The old guy nods his farewell. You're interesting, kid. See you around. Not sure how I feel about that, but okay. You're in a rush today. I just didn't feel like hanging around in there. It's awkward to have all these people in one place. Hecla, Hector, and now this old dude. Maybe it sounds irrational, but no good can come from having them all together. As we keep walking, I feel the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. I have a strange feeling like I'm being watched. I look around to see where they might be. Ooh. A certain ash-haired girl is watching me from behind a wall, like she's hesitating to approach. Come to think of it, it's strange how little I've seen of her after I told her we could try hanging out again. But now I realize I've sort of been spending my free time with Hector. I met him literally that same day. I sigh. I need to go talk to that girl over there. Oh. He stops, cocking his head to think for a moment. An admirer, huh? I didn't realize you were such a ladies' man. Hector gives me an amused grin and an elbow to the side, raising an eyebrow. No, not like that. Hector happily pats me on the back. I'll go on ahead and leave you to it. What exactly does he think he's leaving me to? This should give me a break from his antics, at least. With another sigh, I approach Sarah. Hey. Do you have time for me now? I thought maybe you changed your mind and figured you should go back to avoiding me. Have you? I wasn't avoiding you, not this time. It's just that guy has a way of monopolizing your attention, you know what I mean? Besides, with you, I was worried you'd get into trouble if you were with me, but with him, he'll get into more trouble if I'm not there. Basically a babysitter here, alright? I'm not choosing him over you or something. No, it's okay, I understand. Wait, what exactly did you understand? It sounds like you think it's not what I'm saying it is. I mean, you make time for the friendships you really want, right? And sometimes these people just lose interest. It's natural. No, it's not like that I like your company less. This is ridiculous. First I get this random friendship thrust upon me out of nowhere. Now Sarah's jealous of said friendships, even though it's completely unrelated to the reason I needed to avoid her. But wait, she was pretty quick to decide that I must not be interested. You know, I could say the same. You could have joined us at any time, but you didn't, right? So if you're actually the one who's lost interest, I get it. I know I was a shitty friend. I won't hold it against you. You have your other friends and your parents, and I don't want to cause problems for you with them either. No, that's not it. Sarah grabs my hand and looks at me with tears in her eyes. Oh no. I don't care if someone sees us together. I don't care if I get in trouble for being your friend. Stop finding new excuses to push me away. You're not the one who decides what's best for me. I am. This is a mess. What happened with this conversation? I take a step back, startled by the sudden strength in her voice. The truth is, Sarah and I were best friends growing up. We lived next to each other, so it was easy to hang out. We watched the same shows and had make-believe battles. Her parents were very controlling, though. They were also the type to fight and shout a lot. To avoid making trouble, she ended up with a very quiet, gentle personality. Agreeable. So I always felt like I had to be by her side. To protect her. Like an older brother. To fight her battles and speak out against those trying to hurt her. Then a few years back, I joined that gang at school. It wasn't like a real mafia run by adults. It was just kids fighting in the street. I was angry at life, and it felt like I needed to let it out by punching people. I found out I was surprisingly good at it, too. At fighting. And it did make me feel better. At least for a bit. Maybe it's because I didn't have parents, or because Hecla's budget wouldn't let me have the nice things everyone else did, but I wasn't popular. The other kids looked at me weird already, so it was like I had to be an asshole just so they'd leave me alone. If they fear me, they'll respect me. It really was just that asinine, but it was enough to make me a bad person in a lot of people's eyes. At one point, I was almost expelled. A lot of kids started circulating rumors about me after that. It just got me into more trouble, even when I hadn't done what they said. And when I quit the gang, my old gang friends made the rumors even worse. Kids were tossing food, scratching the screen on my desk, all the things kids do. And if I fought back, I'd be the bully. I did my best to just shrug it off, tell myself it didn't matter what those assholes thought. And it shouldn't. But it sort of wears at you, having no one on your side. I was trying to straighten out my life, but I only made more enemies. But Sarah stood up for me. She told her friends to stop spreading lies about me. She explained the truth. She called out those who bullied me. She was the only one protecting me. Hecla might have too, but she wasn't there. Not at school. And I wasn't about to go crying to her. Despite being so gentle and kind, despite absolutely despising conflict, Sarah really tried to help me. As a result, though, she became a target too. Her efforts didn't get people to accept me more, they just made people accept her less. Even her parents scolded her, saying it was her fault for associating with a delinquent like me. That's when I realized she was the one suffering the most. So I cut ties with her. I even yelled at her in front of everybody, told her to leave me alone. It was really horrible, publicly. Everyone knew we weren't friends anymore. So her parents got off her back and her other friends accepted her again. The gang ignored her. Everything was better. I didn't like what I did or being out of her life, but I couldn't bear to watch her suffer. Sarah Farkas? I should apologize. Sorry about everything. I never asked for an apology. I just nodded and turned to head into the building, to class. I'm not sure what else to do. What else could I possibly say to make everything better or to go back to the way things were? I don't think anything can do that, but at least she knows that I am sorry, that I didn't want this. School day goes as expected. I can't focus on anything, too busy feeling bad about what happened in the morning. After school, Hector finds me on my way home as usual. I also notice Sarah lingering at a distance again, because of course she is. Hector notices my mood and attempts to cheer me up, but his antics don't have much impact. I just tune him out, lost in my own thoughts. But it turns out female hyenas actually have bigger dicks than the males. I was just reading about... Hold up. I notice something strange, so I stop. Hector stops when I do, following my gaze. Up ahead, there are two figures approaching, but they're dressed strangely. They're wearing some sort of high-tech armor, but with furs, tattoos, and weapons that sort of make them look like Vikings? Is there some sort of cosplay event that I didn't hear about? Whoa, that's cool. Nice costumes. A bit early for Halloween, but... Continuing to walk straight toward us, their weapons glint as they step into the light of a street lamp. Not the street weapons I normally see, but a full-on short sword and a pair of battle axes. You know, Halloween in March is actually totally cool. Forget what I said. Hector, shut the fuck up and stay back. I shove Hector back and stand between him and the armed weirdos. But they don't seem to care. They just keep walking toward me. Wait, what? They're not here for Hector? I assume they must be. He's the one who's actually worth something after all, but they're ignoring him. They're here for me. Why? That's when I remember. Her voice rings in my head like a warning. Why are you getting into knife fights? I thought you were steering clear of all that now. A blade. Hector, run! I try to shove Hector away, but he digs his heels in and won't budge. I'm not leaving you, man. Just as I'm about to reply, one of the armored attackers jumps at me and tries to impale me with my sword. Luckily, I managed to dive to the side, but that was close. These people are really trying to kill me. Fuck, I almost died. Why? What did I ever do to them? Hey, asshole, at least introduce yourself before trying to kill someone. I try to get in there with a disabling stomp to the side of his knee before he can swing again, but he deftly pivots away before my kick can land. Whoever these people are, they're not just carrying weapons, they're trained in combat. I don't stand a chance against two of them. Yes. Sarah calls my name. Oh, no, not this now, too. This way. Leave them alone. Farkas, run! Getting their attention from the sidelines, Sarah starts running as soon as she sees the woman with axes move toward her, trying to lead these people away and give us a chance. No, Sarah! The woman closes the distance surprisingly fast. Is that armor enhancing her abilities somehow? Sarah only gets a couple steps before she's right on top of her. I lose my concentration, and the guy I'd been fighting kicks me in the gut, sending me tumbling backwards. Meanwhile, the other one grabs Sarah, pinning her arms to her sides and holding one of the axe blades angled up against her neck. I'm warning you. Let her go. I all but growl these words through my teeth, barely containing my anger. Who are you fuckers, huh? What's your problem with me? Was it you? Were you the ones who attacked me before? Huh? Say something. Come on. The humans stay out of this and you face us alone. Deal? The humans. While we're talking, I notice Hector moving around the side as if looking for an opening. No time to figure this out. I have to do something. Sarah, Hector, I'm alone to protect both of them. Looks like Hector wants to help me save Sarah, but he'll be in danger if I let him. If I take the time to stop him, though, Sarah might die. Ugh. Protect Sarah with Hector's help. I decide to focus on Sarah. She's the one in immediate danger. I'm not sure how, but I need to separate her from those axes before this woman decides to use them. I know Hector's thinking the same thing, moving around to flank her, prepared to help me. Trust him to create a distraction. I give him a nod. If you can buy me a second, then I can save Sarah. For today, Hector, just for today, I'll trust that foolish bravery of yours. Ah! Hector lunges at the woman holding Sarah, having quietly made his way behind her while we were talking. Hector isn't super strong, and he knows he can't fight, but he still does his best to help. He grips her wrist in a kind of bear hug from behind, trying to make sure she can't move them to cut Sarah. The woman whips her head backward, bashing his face with the back of her skull and sending him stumbling back. With her captor distracted, Sarah is able to slip free, but... Oh, no. Hector, no! As soon as Hector's off the woman's back, the man with the short sword sweeps around, plunging his blade into Hector's gut. I can see Hector's blood. It's not made of money, I guess. This is a nightmare. It has to be. There's no way this is real. I'll wake up from this soon, right? Please. Please wake me up, Hecla. Please wake me up so I never have to go through this again. Enough of this. Die! Ah! What happens next is hard to describe. It's like I lost consciousness. Like I was gone and someone else took over. Someone else inside my body. I scream and my skin feels like I'll burst into flame. I move to avoid another stab from the armored guy attacking me. Then I reach to my side. My chains. When did they get here? I let them fly, throwing them forward, and they catch the leg of the guy in front of me. I jerk it toward me, away from Hector, and jab an elbow down into his chest as he falls onto his back. The concrete cracks under him with the impact. Where did this strength come from? I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I have to keep going. Can't stop. I can't slow down. I charge the second assailant, swinging my chains. With a cry of alarm, Sarah rushes towards Hector as he collapses to the ground, crossing in front of the woman with axes to get to him. The woman shoves her away, blindsiding her and knocking her to the ground, all while glaring straight at me. She raises one axe as if to quickly follow her shove with a swing and be done with the obstacle Sarah has become. My chain quickly whips around her wrist to stop her. She hurls the other axe from her free hand toward me, but I lean away, dodging it and then yanking her toward me into a punch from my other hand, doubling the force of the impact. It's as if someone else cries out through me with my voice. I punch again, harder than I thought possible. She falls, unconscious, defeated. Both attackers lie crumpled on the ground, blood burbling out as they try to breathe. They're still alive then. Oh, I only have one choice. Alright, well... We'll kill them. Yeah, there's no choice to be made here. I can't stop myself. I have to kill these people. I don't care why they attacked me. They attacked Hector and Sarah. They stabbed Hector. They have to die. Marcus! Hector grips my arm. I stop just short of smashing the skulls of the two unconscious assailants at my feet. It's okay. Stop. Please. Hector grabs an arm around my torso to hold me back. I feel the warm blood seeping from his wound, even as he grips it with his other hand. This guy. He's bleeding, possibly dying, but he's still more worried about saving lives, and possibly me from losing myself. I turn to both of them, suddenly noticing the warmth running down my cheeks. I'm crying. It's okay. It's not so bad. I'll call an ambulance. Sitting up from where she landed on the ground, Sarah seems to be freaking out as much as I am. It'll take forever. There's a hospital nearby. I'll carry you. Don't die on me before we get there. Sorry, I got in the way. I wanted to be a hero. But I can't do anything. I can't fight like you, Farkas. Sorry. As my eyes fill with tears, Hector starts to lose... Jesus Christ! Starts to lose consciousness. I need to run. Sarah, just let them know we're coming. Tell them this is Hector Koskinen. He's super rich. They'll definitely pay attention. Sarah wipes her tears and nods. Oh, okay, got it. She calls the nearby hospital and I run with all my might carrying Hector. It's been 2 hours. I brought Hector here. They immediately took him in. They're operating now, giving him proper medical attention. I don't know, maybe he's already dead. And if he is, isn't that my fault? I became his friend and look what happened. I knew he was like that, always jumping into trouble. I knew it, yet I wanted a friend. Something cold and soft touches my hand. It's Sarah. She's looking at me with worried eyes. You did what you could, Farkas. Don't worry. He'll make... You don't know that. I pull away, shoving her hand off of me. It's the second time today and I feel awful about it, yet Sarah doesn't pull away or seem mad. We don't know if he'll be alright. I'm trying to tell her, looking away. Why do I care about this guy so much? It's only been a couple weeks. He was my first friend in a long time. Someone I felt I could talk to. I don't want to lose him. I know. Sarah smiles. Whatever happens, Farkas, this wasn't your fault. Those people in armor, they were my fault. Sarah seems confused. Those screwballs? Why would... They were after me, and I don't think this is the first time I fought them. The other day, when I came home injured, I hold up my hand to show her what I'm talking about. The bandage is gone now, but the mark is still visible across my palm. I'd been cut up, and it just feels like this has happened before. But I don't know why. I don't think they're gang members. They seemed like assassins. Yeah. Or trained warriors, at least. But in this day and age, dressed like that? Even if guns are illegal in the city, criminals are well supplied and well trained as that could still get their hands on some. So, I don't know. It's weird. It's all weird. Nothing makes any sense. I sigh. Sarah seems just as clueless as I am. She inches closer. I have to go home soon or my parents will be mad, but... I called your mom. Come on, you know Hekla's not my mom, just... my adult supervisor. Right, but anyway, I called her and let her know what's happening. Thank you. She said it's alright if you want to stay here for the night. Okay. I could bring you food and a blanket if... I'm fine. Alright. Good night, Farkas. Good night. Sarah looks troubled that she has to leave me, but finally she turns and goes. I watch people come and go with painful coughs, with injuries, and I'm just waiting for news. Any news. Time passes, and every tick of the clock without news makes me want to scream. Anything would be fine. Better than waiting. Hey, you! Okay, maybe not this. Approaching me is the man who's apparently Hector's butler or whatever. Mikhail. That was his name. He reaches down and grips my collar, pulling me up. I return his greeting with a dull, tired glare. Hey. Don't you hey me. What happened to Hector? We got into a fight and he got hurt. He was stabbed. He's getting surgery right now. It was all my fault. With his free arm, Mikhail whips his fist around, backhanding me across the face. I don't try to stop him. I just take it. But fuck, he knows how to swing. How dare you drag your supposed friends into danger like that? Don't you know how little freedom Hector gets? Do you have any idea how much trouble he goes through twisting his packed schedule around just to spend time with you? He hasn't exactly had friends to speak of. He trusted you. I get it. I already said it was my fault. Damn it. This is why I avoid people. I don't want them getting hurt. For some reason, this shit keeps finding me like a magnet, and whoever's with me pays the price. Fuck, I know you care about Hector. I haven't known him long, but I do too. I don't have many friends either. It's the last thing I want for him or Sarah to be in danger. Excuse me? While Mikhail and I were yelling at each other, one of the doctors approached. The doctor eyes us apprehensively, frowning and waiting for our attention. Apologies. Do you have news for us, Doctor? Mikhail drops me, and his demeanor immediately shifts into polite professionalism. It might be polished, but it's definitely a facade. The real guy was the one about to slug me just now. I can see why he might serve as sort of a combined butler and bodyguard. That's what he is. He's fierce in what he does. I kind of respect that, as much as I hate to admit it. His professional side must be the one he normally shows the world, so he must have been really upset to break character and come at me like that. Yes, well, regarding Hector Koskinen, he lost a lot of blood, but it's fortunate he got here so quickly. He needs rest, but the surgery was successful, and he'll recover. Mikhail breathes a sigh of relief. So he's out of danger? He'll live then. The doctor nods. Yes, so long as he can avoid any more scrapes like that. Anyway, I should head back. Stay safe. I slump down into my seat, the nervous tension melting from my body. Mikhail turns to me. He frowns as if realizing something. Sorry about that just now. I lost my composure. I can see you were just as worried as I was. Can't blame you. Hector's always been a daredevil. Maybe he'll learn his lesson this time. I'll do what I can to make amends. Just go take care of Hector or whatever else you need to do. I'm out of here. Now, hold on. I don't want to be here when he wakes up. Tell him we're not friends anymore. You're fine with that, right? It'll keep him out of trouble. Mikhail frowns. No, I don't think... Tough luck. Bye. Oh. I don't wait for his response, heading straight out the door and onto the street before I can change my mind. That seems rash. I let out a breath as I turn onto the road that'll take me back home. But before heading there, I stop back at the spot where the fight happened. However, the attackers I'd left there unconscious are gone. Take a bit of time to walk around, asking others on the street if they saw anything, looking for a trail of blood if I can find it. This isn't a big street, so not a lot of traffic. Some people heard noise like a fight but didn't want to get involved, I guess, so they steered clear. And afterward, there was nothing to be seen. It's like those two just vanished. Fuck, they really got away. Hector's survival was the priority, but it sucks that I can't track these people. Now I won't know when or if they'll come for me again. Or how many there are. I feel a cold sweat come over me and my eyes widen. I just realized, if they were able to find me, they might know where I live. Hecla could be next. They could be on their way to the Ice and Dice right now, or already there. It's a pub. It's open to the public. They could just go in and... Fuck. I start running home in a desperate sprint. Hecla! I call out her name as soon as I get through the door. Marcus, what's wrong? I realize everything's normal at the pub, and I just embarrassed myself. The patrons all turn to stare at me. Nothing, I just shake my head trying to drive away the images of death and disaster. You don't seem all right. Yeah, I suppose I don't. I'll try to get close to someone for a change and they get stabbed. Will I just cause problems for everyone in my life until I die? To say I feel cursed would be putting it mildly, but if I say that out loud, it'll sound ridiculous, so I don't. Sarah called and told me what happened. Are you alright? How's Hector? I sigh, shaking my head. Everything is okay. Hector will make it. You feel guilty, don't you? Of course I do. What do you think? Or what do you think? Hecla sighs. Listen, it's not your fault. In situations like these, you just push people away. You always have, but because you do, you lose track of what's important. I won't tell you not to feel sad that your friend got hurt, but isn't it wonderful that you have friends that care about you? So don't look down on Hector and Sarah's kindness. Don't turn away from them. Try to get closer to those you care about. Getting hurt is part of life, but if you have people who care about you, that makes it bearable. Nicola knows why I distanced myself from Sarah, why I stopped being her friend. I never tried to explain any of this, but she still knows somehow. I guess she's just like that. I know she's right, but the pain I feel when others are hurt, and it feels like it's like my fault, still there, no matter how I think about it or what I tell myself. I feel my eyes watering as I go upstairs to take a shower and try to get some sleep. But if you have another friend and you mistrust him, but want to benefit from him nonetheless, you should speak to him kindly, flatter him, and repay his treachery with your own. The part 3 of chapter 0. Sorry, I have been tired all pretty good day. Just all day. Since I feel like I did not want to get up today. I'm tired. Sorry. Distracted by something. Okay. Althea, part 3. I wake up gazing at a white tiled ceiling, stiff yet clean sheets under me. I'm in what looks like a small bedroom with its own sink and toilet, as well as a small desk where the relic box now sits. Rubbing my eyes, I sit up and my memories of the past days slowly taking shape as Rubbing my eyes, I sit up, my memories of the past days slowly taking shape as I sort my dreams from reality. Who was that? This person whose eyes I was seeing through in the dream? That was the second night in a row where I've had a dream like that, with such intense and detailed scenes and things that felt familiar even though I don't know where I could have seen them before. Who was the me who lived as this nun, and who was the me who died on some battlefield the previous night? Neither of these things were quite like remembering a past life as a Norse goddess, but yet... Now might not be the first time Idun tried coming into the world as a human, but if so, what happened before? More importantly, though, what now? These people are expecting me to stop Ragnarok, and now I at least have some vague idea how, though it'll take some experimentation to make sure those abilities aren't just a dream. Regardless, I can feel the ominous looming future driving me to develop all the skills I can, and not just because I might need them to save the world. I almost died to those assassins. Who knows when more of them might come? For me, or for my family, for Johannes? Peter, if I'd known how to use my powers, I could have... No, I can't get stuck beating myself up for that. I didn't know how to do it then. I couldn't have, but now I have no excuse. I can't let something like that happen again just because I failed to prepare. I know the fate of the world is a bigger deal than the people I'm closest to, but these other threats still give me a sharper pang of fear. They feel more immediate, more personal, more real. If I can heal and defend, then I better learn how. It could mean someone's life, and soon, maybe I'll have offensive abilities to unlock as well, even if Idun's nature is to be more of a life giver than a life taker. Besides, I still don't know much about this government task force, and I'd rather not be at their mercy. So the more power I can wield in my own right, the better. I got like hair in my face. Sit up and adjust my clothes. I've been wearing them for over 24 hours at this point. Checking the closets, I find what must be standard issue uniforms minus any sign of rank. Leave them alone for now. I'm not about to conform to the people who just drugged me and locked me in here. Well, I assume they locked me. I guess I didn't actually check the door. I head over to do that, and sure enough, it is in fact locked. Hey, you gonna come talk to me? I shout through the door. No response yet. I go back to sit on the bed. But very little time passes before I hear footsteps outside and a knock at the door. Good morning. Are you decent? I'm not naked if that's what you're asking. The door opens and the officer steps inside. I realize we aren't off to the best start, but at least you can see where we're coming from, right? There's a lot at stake. Just carrying a couple trays that look like they came from the mess hall, each with a different set of food. She sets them down on the desk. Oh, my eyes itchy. Wasn't sure what you'd want for breakfast, so I got some of everything. I'll have whatever you don't. I was drugged and locked in here, now you're trying to be nice? What would you have us do? We don't want to hurt you. At the same time, if you step outside of protection, you're walking straight into death by assassin. And taking the entire world down with you. Her voice is gentle, but her eyes meet mine without any hint of shame or guilt, despite their empathy. She sits on the edge of the desk, leaving the chair for me. Figure I might as well sit down and look over the food choices. Oatmeal, yogurt, toast, packets of jam, butter, a fruit cup, the typical shots of cod liver oil to keep our vitamin D up with the minimal sunlight. Apparently Iceland has done the cod liver oil thing for generations, but it has me wondering if the rest of the world should consider something similar. So little sunlight gets through the endless cloud cover that's literally everywhere now. I gather what I want along with the utensils from one tray to start in on it. So what now? The door was locked, so you're going to physically stop me from leaving. Am I just going to sit here until you decide to roll me out to face Fenrir, hoping I do something that works? We do want to make sure you're finding ways to train, gain some level of confidence in your abilities. Good, I think to myself as I continue to eat in silence. They already proved that I can't necessarily trust them, but at least they're not getting in the way of me getting stronger. If I ever need to make my way on my own, I'll need as much command of my abilities as I can manage. Of course, I don't want the world to be destroyed if it comes to that. She starts in on the unclaimed food in the meantime, gazing nonchalantly into space as she eats, giving me time. So what ways to train am I supposed to find? There's no shortage of things for you to mend or heal around here. When you use the box to create a new apple, do you feel anything in particular? I think back. I'd have to try it again. The first time it happened, I was pretty distracted by the fact that there was an apple at all. But think back to the events of last night's stream. I still might have some idea what this sort of thing is supposed to feel like. Just to make sure that what I'm remembering is, well, real. Well, if you want to visit the medic after this, we can look for a volunteer to try whatever it is you're remembering. A shower first would be nice, though. It's been more than a day, and I did do a lot of running yesterday. My tone is dry, but no longer entirely hostile. Of course, I can show you the way. Finish my food and stand up. After a quick stop to drop off our trays, we're on our way. Showers are next to the gym. This way. She gestures, turning down a corridor, and then pushing through a door into a locker room with curtained shower stalls. Other women who work at the space are moving through their morning routines. They glance at us, but otherwise do their best to mind their own business. Alright, I think I can take it from here. Komani nods, but doesn't go anywhere. I mean, I'll be right here. Okay, then. I look around for a stall and whatever towels and soaps are provided and try to be done quickly. Even so, it takes me a while. Every unfamiliar aspect of this place gets me reflecting on how bizarre this whole situation is. Finally, I'm out again, and Konami is just standing there leaning against a wall. Ready? The medic's office is pretty close by. I shrug and follow. A few minutes later, we're headed down another sterile windowless corridor toward the office of this medic. The door opens as Komani approaches. It isn't a large place, but there are a few beds with partitions between them, as well as a front desk. There's a man sitting behind it reviewing something on a screen. He seems to be in his 40s and solidly built with a heck of a mustache. Whatever else he might do here, he's definitely not missing days at the gym. Hey there, Stefan. He looks up. This is Althea Mishra, the guest. And this is Dr. Stefan Ivarsson, head of the med team here. What can I do for you? Turning and taking a step towards us, he reaches out to shake my hand. I take it. However I feel about this whole organization, I could use his help. I know. Who am I supposed to be then? I was briefed on quite a few strange things for this assignment, but yes, more or less. Then you know there are certain things I'm supposed to be able to do. Powers and such. But I've never done anything like that before. Not outside my dreams. Not in this life. I need a way to practice, and healing or mending things is one thing I need to make sure I can do. So what exactly would you need in order to try something like this? I mean, if you just need to stand nearby and wave your hands, then no problem. I assume worst case, nothing happens. He sighs, seemingly uncomfortable, but he shrugs it off. I'm not sure how any of this is supposed to work. I'm just trying to mitigate risks. If what I'm remembering is correct, I might need to at least put my hand close to wherever the trouble is. Well, if the person gives you permission, but try not to touch if you don't have to, so you don't accidentally hurt anyone. I'll have to get you washed up and into some gloves, as soon as you volunteer, that is. Is there anyone here for treatment at the moment? Nothing terrible, since we aren't exactly in the thick of things at the moment, but I can ask if someone would be willing. I nod and he heads back among the medical beds. I hear words exchanged, their voices low and indistinct, and finally he returns. This way. He leads us back to a bed where a young man sits, wearing shorts and a sweaty t-shirt with one shoe removed to reveal a Swollen foot. The patient looks up at us, then shifts his gaze in embarrassment before launching into an explanation before any of us can say anything. Yeah, so I know it's silly, but I was pushing myself too hard. The dumbbell slipped out of my hand and smashed my toes. The doctor was figuring out if anything's broken. I don't know what exactly you do, but I figure I might as well try it if it might mean I can walk on it sooner. We'll see. I promise I at least won't make anything worse. I try to smile lightheartedly. Before you get your hands near him, the doctor gestures out of the partitioned area around the bed and directs me to a sink and some disposable gloves. I can't tell from my experience whether this is overkill or just normal protocol, but I do it anyway. COVID. Normal protocol. Back near the bed, I roll a chair over to where the man's feet rest at the end. I'm just going to hold my hands near your injury. I don't plan to put pressure on anything, but let me know if anything hurts. Go for it. I sandwich his foot between my hands, hovering them just barely away from the skin, waiting to see if the feeling from my dream will return. I don't feel powerful instant magnetism like I did with the sick man in the church, but something does nonetheless seem to build up. Tingling warmth, a feeling of flow like a liquid trickling down my arms and out my palms. I glance to the man's face, wondering if he feels anything. His eyes are fixed on my hands, intrigued. Well, at least I can feel your hands are warm. His comment is casual, but with a nervousness under it, like he's trying to make a bizarre situation more normal and comfortable. It still feels much less powerful than it did in the dream, though. I wonder if I can do better. Try to relax more and let it flow. I close my eyes, resting my forearms on my thighs so my hands can remain on either side of his foot with minimum effort. Breathing in and out, I let my thoughts fade as best I can, letting them drift past and away whenever they pop up. From head to toe, I mentally move through each part of my body in turn, relaxing it, deliberately releasing what tension I can before moving on. As I do this, I can feel my whole body gradually growing warmer, especially my arms and hands. Before long, it's almost as tense as a warm physical liquid rolling down my skin and even through my bones before finally flowing out through my palms. As I keep my hands in place, the light buzzing in my palms also intensifies. Still not quite like the dream, but at least it seems to be doing something. I notice his legs squirming a little, and I wonder if he feels it too. I feel like I just need to... He grunts as he stretches and curls the toes of his injured foot, then gasps as there is a pop from one of them. Then he sighs in relief. It's like something just went back into place. The doctor looks back and forth between us during the whole process, poised to step in at any moment. And he nearly does when he hears the pop and the noise of pain, but stops when he sees the toes bending normally afterward. He wasn't able to move his toes not too long ago. Can you move your hands away so I can see what the swelling looks like? I hesitate. I can feel a steady current coming down my arms and into the injured foot at this point. My instinct is to let it continue. After a moment, I slowly move my hands just an inch or so farther away. What had before been discolored with bruises is now a more even color. And the foot is certainly shaped, well, more like a foot, less puffy than I remember it. I want to take another set of scans to see if anything changed. Would you say you're done, or... He speaks as an otherwise confident man, grappling with something completely foreign. I can still feel it going, but I have no idea how long that might last. If you want to take a scan, then I can pause. He nods and moves in to roll the bed out and over toward the instruments at the other end of the medbay. Komani and I wait at his desk while he runs the scans and then comes back to review the results. Side by side, he looks at the images he'd been reviewing before we came in and the ones he just took. I'd found 2 fractures in the original, one of them slightly displaced. Now, it's as if the displaced one has been shifted back together and the fractures are fused closed. I wouldn't call them good as new, but it's what I'd expect to see after weeks of healing at a natural pace. So, am I good to walk then? He's still lying over by the machine, but pushes himself up into a seated position. Maybe after several more minutes of this, the doctor continues to flip through the images, not looking away from them to reply. God damn. I can't help but smile to myself in pride and relief. So I really can do this. I return to the medic's office over the next few days to get what experience I can. It's hard to measure, but it seems like the current out through my hands is flowing more easily the more I use it. I also practice the defensive ability from my dream, attempting to push Komani away from me. We use the sparring mats in the gym, even if at first I can't focus enough to have any effect on her. But as I grow less self-conscious, I'm able to make her feel a nudge, then make her stumble back slightly, and finally knock her back onto the floor. That's really something. Even when they told us these things existed, it was hard to actually imagine actually seeing it. I know. I guess without briefings like yours, I'd never heard about it until I saw it. So I didn't even know what to try to imagine. You should find some heavier sparring pads to wear. Before long, I might be able to throw you into things and use this as an attack as well. Or send objects flying and use that as an attack. I'm not saying it always has to be you. Oh, admit it, you just like throwing me around. It was good for me to get used to facing powers like yours as well. It's an interesting thought. By training with her, am I actually helping these people learn how to best counter my abilities if I ever try to fight them for real? That's a dark possibility. But I need the training either way, and there's no way to escape the cameras in this place. Best to just focus on taking advantage of these resources as best I can. So how did you end up involved in something like this anyway? Did they just randomly select you? Partly, it's location. They needed people in Iceland working within the local authority, and I've been here most of my life. Most? You probably noticed there isn't much immigration, but we came because of my father's work studying the melting Arctic. He's a biologist. Anyway, I was at the right place at the right time. There was an opportunity for special assignment, so I applied and proved my fitness for it. Just like I proved myself as a regular patrol officer for joining the National Police Commissioner's Special Operations Unit. It's a mouthful. The Viking Squad, Iceland's SWAT unit. The country doesn't have a standing army, so they're the closest thing it has to military forces. Did you ever believe in anything supernatural before this? Believe in? Well, traditionally my family in South Africa has been Christian for generations, so those beliefs always seemed normal. But Iceland is a lot more secular than it was down there, so as I got older, religion felt more like a cultural tradition than some sort of magic that could actually work. What about you? I like studying legends and myths, but that's all I thought they were. I've always been interested in different cultures and their beliefs, but I figured it was all just embellished history and products of the human mind. But that didn't make it any less interesting. It's as if by deciphering what's behind these stories, I can understand more about the real truth of humanity. What we are, what our consciousness is, and what we were in the parts of the past where legends are now the only record. Well, we. Can I really say we anymore if I know now that I'm something else? I don't know, you still lived a full human life up to this point without remembering anything else. I'd say that makes you as human as anyone. So you basically sorted through these things on your own. There wasn't anything you got from your family? I was really young when we left India. I remember a vague impression of it just being understood that we were more than our physical bodies, but that's about it. But my parents are both pretty intellectual. That's how they met in university. For my mom, well, a lot of Europe is pretty solidly humanist, but in Greece, the Orthodox Church is still a big deal culturally. Some of her family are more conservative than others and had expectations for whoever she ended up with. My dad grew up with Hinduism, but anything that felt traditional or dogmatic always rubbed him the wrong way. Of course, he'll celebrate Diwali like anyone else, but that doesn't mean he thinks the gods literally exist. Maybe he just saw it as another tool for the older generations to control him. He was a rebel. He had to be, marrying a foreigner. It sounds like there was a real clash between these families. Yeah, apparently both families had really strong feelings about how weddings should be done. I don't know how my parents survived. I remember not understanding why my grandparents on my dad's side were weird around my mom and vice versa. They were still nice to me, though. Your family didn't have disagreements like this? I guess we were more isolated living here. My family in South Africa never met my friends and coworkers in Iceland. They lived in different worlds. They saw things differently. I guess I just ended up becoming more like the latter to fit in, without really thinking about it. Not sure how I feel about that now. We're making our way back toward the mess hall for dinner when Komani gets some sort of message through her HUD. I still have no internet connection, so I have to rely on the people here to relay anything I need to know. I can't say I don't worry about what I'm missing, but I know I'll just get the same answer about security concerns if I ask to contact anyone. Sounds like there's a call for you. Do you want to stop in the conference room now and take it? Oh, who is it? She shakes her head. All I got was a heads up that they're putting a call through for you. Let's see what this is all about then. We turn down another hallway and head into a meeting room where Komani taps the controls on the surface of the table. My HUD alerts me that I've been granted access to screen sharing with the conference room, and after I confirm, the familiar hologram-like image of Johannes appears in front of me. Kamani looks in his direction as well, her own HUD no doubt overlaying him onto her view just as he appears in mine. Miss Thea, there you are. It seems like it's been quite some time, hasn't it? They told me you were under protection and there was some secure service I should route the call through to get in touch. So I didn't want to use it frivolously, but there are a few things you should know. Alright, is everyone at least safe? I'm afraid that's part of it. It's come out that someone from your school was killed in a violent attack the same day I last saw you. A Petir Helgeson? Helgeson. I blink, rubbing my face as the memories come back to me. A bizarre afternoon when my life as I knew it shattered and a friend was killed in front of me. In this sunless underground place, those events were almost starting not to feel real. But of course they were. Yeah, he was with me running from the same attacker. I was there. I saw it. Even just remember Peter being a jerk as he often was. Thinking of him at all now has my insides lurching with a strange and upsetting mix of emotions. I don't think I can claim to have been truly close to him, but god damn. Even if I didn't know him at all, just knowing someone died because my path crossed with his. And I did know him, just imagining his face now, it seems like he must still be alive somewhere like normal. How could it be otherwise? I thought we were going to be friends. How are you holding up? I don't know. Do you want to continue? Is there more? I mentioned that your parents had need of me, which is why I couldn't pick you up at the usual time. And once again, I apologize, especially given what you had to face. He seems genuinely guilt-ridden over not having been there, but he's also stalling. What is it? Well, it wasn't what I thought. I'd gotten an urgent message to meet them across town, but when I arrived, no one was there. It said they were both together? That would be unusual, considering their jobs are in different locations. Apparently not, though the message wasn't very specific, just brief and urgent enough to be troubling. Since the message appeared to come from your mother's phone, I called her when I couldn't find anyone, and she had no idea what I was talking about. At that point, we were both very concerned about this fraudulent message. It had addressed me specifically and mentioned names, so it wasn't just a wrong number. Since it happened at the time I'd usually head to your school, she was instantly concerned about you, and I went to look for you. We also both called your phone, but it wouldn't go through. Because by that time, I was probably already in this place. There's no reception, or at least none that I'm allowed access to. That's what we eventually learned. But it was panic until your parents were contacted by special forces later that evening, saying you were under protection after an attack. In the meantime, she brought your father into the loop, and we did what we could until finally your parents said there were things I should know about you if I was going to be able to help when things happen. What did they mean by that? He hesitates, trying to find the right words. They said you can do unusual things? Do you know what I'm talking about? A week ago, I would have had no idea, but I think I do now. Is there a reason they're not on the call with you? We were told that getting in touch with you carried a certain risk, so I volunteered to be the one to do it, while positioning myself away from where either of them are. But if they were already able to spoof my mom's number, I know. But no reason to make things any easier for these people. But anyway, your parents wanted you to know that whatever it is you're facing, you have abilities that can protect you. There were things you managed to do as a child that afterward they pretended never happened, and even moved to avoid the people who might have seen. But you didn't just dream those things or make them up. You have some sort of power. They tried to keep it quiet so no one come after you like they are now. And they want you to know they're sorry. They feel like they failed, because apparently someone found out. That's what they assume must be going on anyway. I get it, but they should have told me. If I had known I had special powers all along, I could have trained them. I could have been more prepared. Sure, there's always the risk that someone would notice, but even if we're careful. But apparently that happened anyway if they're saying that's why we moved. I have a right to know things about myself, don't I? Especially now that I'm not even a kid anymore. It's certainly understandable. He's carefully not agreeing with me or with what my parents did, avoiding taking sides as usual. But I suppose it would be unprofessional for him to do otherwise. What about you, Johannes? Do you believe what they told you about me? What do you make of all this? Well, for the time I worked for them at least, I've always known your parents to be very reasonable, rational people. I can't really imagine them buying into anything like ghost stories, alien abductions, paranormal whatnot. And they don't. They both seem completely convinced of what they'd seen in you, though they knew how it would sound. I suppose I don't know. But I do believe they're both being honest and that they remain sane and rational. I glanced at Kamani, silently wondering how much I can safely share with Johannes. She looks to Johannes. As strange as the situation may be, we have it well in hand. Who was that? And I suppose that's good to hear. Just another one of the officers assigned to this matter. She avoided giving her name. More security concerns? I realize it's all a bit overwhelming. It's an unusual situation, but we have what we need to resolve it. You can reassure them of that. Again, she avoided confirming or denying anything. I see. Well, that was all I had to share. Are you doing all right? I mean, I'm basically trapped here. I'm literally not allowed to leave because of these assassins. But still, it's hard not to feel like a prisoner. Have you been treated all right? Everyone acts cordial, but it's clear that they mean business. If I push for something they don't agree with, it's not going to happen. They'll make sure it won't happen. He pauses, seeming a bit uncomfortable with what that might mean, but eventually he nods. I see. I suppose I shouldn't take up too much of your time, but I'm glad I was able to get through. Me too. See you again soon, hopefully, when this is resolved. Right. But how long will that be? I sort of wish you were by my side now, so I'd have someone to go through this with. It wouldn't be fair to drag him into it, though. He has a life of his own, after all. Well, talk to you later. Goodbye, Miss Thea. His farewell sounds so final. I hope I'm only imagining that. Maybe it's just my own worries coloring things. Either way, the call ends and we head to the mess hall, going about the rest of our day as usual. The days pass. Ooh, God. And the supervision on me seems to loosen up slightly, at least superficially. I'm able to walk around where I choose so long as it isn't in a restricted area without requiring a dedicated escort, but there are still always guards within view keeping an eye on me, plus security cameras. According to my phone, it's been about a week. I can't get connected to the internet, but I can still keep time at least. The days feel a bit like running in a hamster wheel. I eat, I sleep, I train, both with and without Kamani, whether in the med bay, in the gym, or just in my room with the Apple box, trying to connect with it somehow. I also read. Even without access to external networks, I can use the local one to at least browse publicly available records, which amounts to about as much as I could have found on a public search engine since I have no security clearance, but it still helps to pass the time. I work on filling in the gaps in my knowledge of Norse myths, especially the ones concerning, well, me, I guess. There isn't much about Idun. Many stories were lost with time, especially since the Norse didn't write much down. They used runes sometimes, but mostly everything was passed down orally. But damn, what is this embarrassing story about Idun getting lured out, hey Travis, into the middle of nowhere by Loki, only to get captured by some giant, all because Loki promised me to him in exchange for Loki's life. And then I apparently got turned into a nut so that Loki in bird form could rescue me again, but only after everyone threatened to torture him to death if he didn't, since they were dying without the apples. So it sounds like pretty important, but also a bit pathetic and gullible, if that stuff ever actually happened. And if this is the way it happened and not just some distorted version of the story, why would I trust Loki? Then again, the more I think about it, what is Loki's deal? I mean, why is he always doing annoying shit that gets him in trouble with the Aesir? It looks like they only put up with him because of some ancient unexplained blood brothers pact between him and Odin. Does he want attention? Is he insecure because he doesn't feel like he belongs? Does he resent the gods who are more loved than he is? I don't know, Loki, are you? Is he just a sociopath and toying with people is how he staves off the boredom of existence? I'm saying he because most of the literature does, but it looks like Loki also lived as a woman for a time and had children as that woman. In addition to becoming the mother of Odin's horse, Sleipnir, while shapeshifted into a mare, and living by choice as a cow producing milk, so probably best not to make assumptions. Like most of these legends, Loki's story is full of gaps. It's hard to tell what the real being might be like. Not that I should just take over the word of stories that could have easily morphed. Not that I should just take the word of stories that could have easily morphed over the centuries anyway. When I finally feel like my eyes and mind are ready for a break from reading, I sit up from where I've been lying on my bed looking at my HUD. It'd be nice to talk to someone. Though the guards all tend to keep their distance. Politely, but still. See if I can call Johannes. After connecting with him through that secure line the other day, I've seen that it's at least possible to get in touch. Wonder if I could do that right now, or only when they let me. What did that say? Oh, I chose to spend time with Johannes. My HUD did connect with the secure line we used to speak with him before, so if I can find something in my call history about what exactly I connected to, maybe I can place an outgoing call through the same channel. We're just playing through what I think is a demo of the Gods of Twilight. eventually becomes kind of like a dating sim, but also like a visual novel about Ragnarok coming. Well, no way to know unless I try it, and humans have been reincarnated, or gods have been reincarnated as humans. It looks like something is happening. Misty! Everything alright? He's naked. Johannes, why are you naked? Oh, I'm not naked. I have a towel. I was just in the shower when I saw your call, but I was worried it might be an emergency, so why didn't you answer with audio only? Well, it was a split-second decision. I wasn't really thinking. I apologize. I'll go ahead and switch to audio only. Sure you didn't do that on purpose? Don't take this the wrong way, but could there be a part of you that wanted me to see you like this? Johannes looks flustered but not unhappy. I'm not sure what you want me to say. It's not an answer, but don't worry, I'm just teasing you. Sorry if it's too much. No, it's quite alright. I don't mind you being playful, actually. You don't mind it, but that doesn't mean you like it. And if you don't, then I don't want to do it. Like, if you'd really rather everything be purely professional. Well, there's comfort, and then there's liking something. A person can like something outside their comfort zone. But to be clear, no, I don't want you to just be purely professional and personal with me. You never have been, and I've enjoyed it, even if I don't always know what to say. But was something wrong? What prompted you to call? Honestly, I just wanted to test the system to see if I can get in touch with you if I need to. Our call the other day was the first time I was able to talk to anyone on the outside since getting here. And I guess I also missed having someone to talk to. Someone who isn't already part of this whole operation, that is. I didn't realize how much I'd gotten used to seeing you every day until you weren't there anymore. He lets out a breath. Well, I'm glad there's no immediate crisis. And I suppose I could say the same. It's been strange without you. Here without you. More intensely so for your parents than it ever could be for me, no doubt. But even so. At any rate, it's reassuring you're able to get in touch as needed in case of emergency, without too much bureaucracy in the way. Is there anything else I can do for you, for now? Back to business, huh? Actually, even just hearing how you're doing is helpful to keep me grounded. It's like, I know logically maybe we should always focus on the next top priority task in order to prepare for the future or keep things secure, but I can sort of use a friend, I guess. More so than an assistant. I see. What does that mean? It means that although I'm happy to receive the friendliness you offer me, I still want to make sure I don't cross the line in terms of how I interact with the child of my employers. Oh, come on. I mean, I suppose I could have guessed that, but still. Also, I am 19. He shifts uncomfortably, searching for words. Offspring, is that a more accurate word? I know you're an adult. Regardless, I'm obligated to maintain a certain etiquette. Johannes, these are really strange times, and I don't have many friends in this country. Basically none, actually. A few friendly acquaintances, but that's it. There's no one in my life I'm really close to except my parents. So can't you, for the love of God, just be there for me for once? As a human being? Yes, I can do that. I'm sorry. I let out a sigh. It's alright. I know that that you want to help as best you can, but anyway, conventions. Please throw them out. I need your emotional support. Right, I might still not exactly be sure to provide that, but I'll do my best. Don't worry about it. Maybe just talk to me for a little bit, if you have the time. A few more minutes shouldn't do any harm, at least, but what can I tell you? I'm afraid things haven't been nearly as exciting for me as they have been for you. Out here, it's mostly just waiting and hoping. You know, I don't think I've ever seen you without glasses before today. Actually, I never asked. If you have a HUD, why don't you get your vision corrected while they were installing it? He smiles gently. Because I don't have a HUD. That's what I use the glasses for. Not to see better. Oh, they still make they still make displays like that? It still works with modern phones? It's a bit of a custom job, but I think it's worth it. Not quite as polished a user experience as a regular HUD, but it's functional, and most importantly, this way I can take it off. But then without a HUD and without your glasses, how did you answer? Choosing my phone itself, plain and simple. Embarrassed, I shift my weight, planning my words. Should have been obvious. Why did I ask that? Of course. The selfie camera is on the phone anyway. It's just been so long since I had to mess around with the menus on the physical display. So, you put a lot of effort into this custom setup, it sounds like. I guess you feel pretty strongly about being able to take the device off when you're not using it? Well, yes. I like to know that I can choose to have nothing listening to my thoughts sometimes. Not even a device is supposed to do as I say. It's impossible to know for certain where all the data goes, after all. You're worried someone will use it against you? I'm sure they're already flooded with more lewd daydreams than they know what to do with if they're listening to anything outside of the deliberate commands the phone is supposed to respond to. If only that were the only thing I had to worry about someone overhearing. Anyway, I don't know. I just like to have control over these things. But you didn't want to just have nothing at all and just use the display on your phone? This way, most people will assume I have a HUD, so they don't worry about what's wrong that caused me to not have one. Like whether I can't afford one, even though most people can, or whether I'm some sort of strange nonconformist. But it sounds like you are. But people don't need to know that as soon as they meet me. I'd rather they get to know me first, before they have any reason to put labels on me like that. But if you share this part of yourself sooner, it might help them get to know you. I mean, when were you going to tell me? Plus, who knows, you might inspire them to consider a different perspective on these things. Perhaps. My custom display is also more convenient than just using the phone display, so I'd still use it even if it had no impact on how others see me. Well, that's good. You're getting something out of it too, at least. Of course. Do you judge me for having a HUD? Actually, would you be willing to tell me if you did? Not everyone needs to be as paranoid as I am. I wouldn't expect anyone else to be like this, much less to judge them for not being so. Most people are simply doing what's normal. I'd probably be doing the same if things had been slightly different. Oh? Different how? Was there some particular thing that changed your mind? 1984. I know it's a story most people have heard of to the point of becoming a trope, but for whatever reason, the book found me at the right time in my life and struck a chord. I mean, if anyone's going to be branded a thought criminal, then, well... Oh? What sort of naughty little thought crimes have you been up to? A slow smile spreads across his face as he laughs good-naturedly. Like I'm going to share that over the government's own secure line. No, I'm joking. Nothing too terrible or out of the ordinary, I'm sure. I just like to have what privacy I can. What's happening to me right now must really have your Orwellian senses tingling, though. Perhaps it should, though I'm reasonably confident that you're safe wherever you are. Safer than you would be outside, certainly. And yet I have very little of your precious privacy, or freedom for that matter. It's true. It's always a trade-off between those things, isn't it? But then what should we do? At this point, it's like the decision's been made for me. I don't know. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer, but I don't think it'll always be like that. There will be points where you have more choice. And when they come, I suppose you just have to be clear on what it is that you want and what you're willing to sacrifice for it. Right. And on that cheerful note, I actually should be off. Not only do I want to avoid keeping the line open too long, but your parents are expecting me. I'll let them know you called and that you're all right. Thanks, though maybe don't tell them about the shower thing. I wouldn't dream of it. Farewell. And with that, he's gone. I pace for a few moments around my room, reflecting on our conversation. God, that door knock startled the shit out of me. I'm considering whether I should go check if the mess hall is still open when there's a knock at my door. Come in. It's time. Time? The arrangements to face Fenrir are in place. We need to head out. My eyes widen. What does that mean? Am I about to face combat? To be in the presence of a legendary creature like that? Am I ready? The memory of the assassin flits through my mind. I'd rather never experience anything like that again. But now I know beyond a doubt that I must be something like the being they're saying I am, and that means I have a part to play in all this. On top of that, I want to know. I need to see this Fenrir for myself and learn the truth about Ragnarok. The truth about a world I've been living in but apparently knew nothing about. Monty and a handful of other Special Forces officers load into a van in the tunnel outside the underground base. The director doesn't plan to be on site himself, but is in constant communication as he observes the situation from every angle. My cynical side judges him for keeping himself safe from the danger he's sending us into, though my practical side thinks, why shouldn't he? If he were there in person, would he be able to help any more than any other officer? Perhaps he's better behind a screen. The van emerges from the tunnel at a different part of the city from where I remember entering and heads across town. Meanwhile, the director speaks to us through our HUDs. You're headed to the private residence of one of our contacts, a beach house on the mainland. I'd preserve his anonymity, but you'll recognize him easily enough. Koskinen, the CEO of Verco Corps. Oh, I liked it. It was really good. I still have a little bit left, but it's kind of gone cold, and I wanna brew another cup, honestly. It's very good. It's a name I'm used to seeing in the news, like most of the big corporation, like most of the biggest corporation owners. A Finnish tech executive who decided to make new. I forgot how to pronounce this already. Reykjavik. Forgot how to pronounce it already.
Reykjavik.
Reykjavik. Okay. Reykjavik. Who decided to make New Reykjavik his home base. Or at least one of his homes is here. Apparently we headed to a different one away from the city. He's going to be hosting a few other unique individuals like yourself who each have roles to play in our efforts. However, not all of them are as up to speed on the situation as you are. We need to be careful about how we introduce people to this information. So avoid speaking to them about Ragnarok or your own true nature. What can I say around them about what's going on and why we're there? They all know that there were people after them, that there are threats to be addressed, and we intend to address them. So similar to the witness protection story. Right. You have some time to interact with them while we get everything in place. And of course, being on good terms with them will be helpful moving forward. How long will we have before what we came to do? At least a day or two, both preparing to bring everyone up to speed on their roles. I relax a little. At least I'm not charging directly into danger. Any questions for now? Aside from how exactly is this going to work, it sounds like that will be explained after we get there. Correct. In that case, I suppose not. Best of luck then. We'll be monitoring the situation if you need assistance. The call ends. So what exactly does that mean for my privacy? Best to assume I have none, probably. The van makes its way through the city toward the airport, and I just cross my arms and wait. Sorry. Oh, I've never met a man so generous, nor so hospitable that he would not welcome repayment, nor have I met a man so giving that he'd turn down a thing offered in return. Alright, we're on Farkas' part 3. But it's 1 o'clock. And I have been tired all day. So I think we're gonna save here. And I will pick this back up another day. Because it's 1 a.m. I kind of wanted to end at midnight, but I just got so wrapped up into this. Well, like I said, everybody did say it was a very long demo. And I feel like it's just is really setting the stage for all the stuff that's going to come after. And I'm not sure what the, like how long they intend for the game to be. But I don't know. It's now your birthday. Is today actually your birthday? Happy birthday. Oh, that's right. You have a March birthday. I forgot. Tomorrow's Steven's birthday. Happy birthday, Silver. I forgot. You're right. Of course you're right. You know when it's your fucking birthday. Ooh, excuse me. My gosh. Anyway. I have to be honest. I guess you are an expert on when your birthday is. I am enjoying this game a lot. I like it a lot. I like the just like the whole like Norse mythology aspect. I like the story seems really interesting. And I'm excited to meet more characters. It's more like 7:48 a.m. Yeah, I was born at 7:47 p.m. But on my birthday, obviously not on the same day as your birthday. But anyway, I really like this. So I may end up finishing this on stream. I was born on my birthday, can you believe it? I don't know, we'll see. I'll bring it up in Discord and see if anybody's still interested in seeing me finish it out. Otherwise, I'll play it on my own because I'm enjoying it. I like it a lot. I like the Norse, like I said, I like the Norse stuff in it. I like the story so far, and I'm just really enjoying it. And I'm interested to see how voice acting comes along, because while I enjoy visual novels, it's a lot of reading for me. And it makes my brain tired having to read it out loud rather than just read it to myself. So I don't know, I may just finish it off stream.